Welcome back to another episode of RAWTALK.
Buy a muscle car, dude. I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy a muscle car. Ooh.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Adam's here. I think his girl's here too.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hello.
What's going on,
Brad?
Hi.
What's going on?
Good, very good.
What's going on, Ben?
Hello, vlog camera. What's going on?
When's the last time I seen you guys?
I was just telling him, last time I saw you was at Tana's wedding.
Oh my
On the
God.
flight. You sat next to me. There was lots of turbulence.
Holy shit.
Remember when you guys saw each other?
The fake ass wedding shit.
Yes. Hello, gorgeous.
Oh my god. Shit, that's a cage.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Are they friendly?
Yeah, they're just super like crazy. Hey, sit.
You like doing it better here than at the gym?
Way better.
Nice.
Yeah, the setup's way better.
Leaving you alone over there?
Well, the gym is like the sound, you know?
Yeah.
Because since it's actually open.
I want a dog this big.
Yeah, Italian Mastiff Cane Corso.
So beautiful.
And he's like such a sweet dog. Wow.
I love
Big puppy.
I love you. We just got a dog. Adam's like not used to it yet. He's always like, go away when he sees it. That's all he says to
I feel like having a kid would be harder. Way harder. 10 times
That's
harder.
fair, yeah.
But like if you have a dog, it's like, that's light. That's easy.
He's a puppy, so he's just kind of like
stinks.
dogs
Smells
smell.
like
What do
shit.
you want? Like
He
dogs.
eats his own
kids,
shit.
But don't kids like smell
Our
like
kid
shit
has peed on you. Like,
My
many
kid has not
times.
eaten her own shit yet.
Okay.
But I do expect it eventually, yeah. Whenever I see people doing podcasts out of their own house, it makes me remember that, like, for a normal person, that's not such a crazy idea. For me, interviewing all these fucking gang members and porn stars, maybe, I don't necessarily want them coming to the crib, but, you know, a lot of them it would be alright, but.
Yeah, where do you do the plug talk one at? In the studio?
She got a separate house that we shoot at.
Yeah,
How much you spend to build that?
Oh, they gave me that for free.
Who?
Company.
Really?
Yeah.
How much you think they are?
7,000 that one?
Use it a lot?
Yeah, I love the sauna. It's essential. It just makes you feel good, man. It's good for you too.
I love that shit too, yeah. She said she saw Howie Mandel at the Starbucks. It's a big deal.
Saw who?
Howie Mandel.
Where?
The fuck? That's so random.
Are you serious?
It might have not been him, but she thought she saw him.
I'm pretty sure it was him. Are these
really
the
need to bring
mushroom
this
chocolates you guys were eating?
Yeah,
Are you guys really eating that right before you started the podcast?
I did earlier.
Did you really
Not a
already?
lot, not a lot.
It's
a very-
fucking
a
morning,
micro-
bro. We just woke up. Like,
It's a
come
good
on.
morning.
Literally just had like
5 squares.
So
I'm sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I have a bar in my fridge, but I haven't like I've been pregnant and then I'm breastfeeding, so like I
Yeah.
just want to eat it so bad. It's right there, but I just don't touch
Yeah,
it.
maybe not.
Do you think something bad was gonna happen? I don't know.
I don't think anything was bad had happened.
No,
You could give the kid
I know.
mushrooms.
I know. I'm like I'm breastfeeding. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to accidentally drug her kid.
Oh, I can't believe I saw my NASCAR.
You say you're pregnant right now?
No, I'm breastfeeding, so
Oh,
you
so
know
you said
whatever I
breastfeeding pregnant.
consume, she consumes. So,
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, so that's why I haven't.
It's like a pump and dump, you know, like when you're drinking alcohol, you have to like pump and dump.
Yeah, except for
Pump
when
and
your
dump,
kid
what?
is like
What is that?
15 months old, they can like attack you. If
Yeah.
you don't give them the milk, they yell at you and they like hit you.
I think
so-
our kid could use some mushrooms, but
Isn't it good for like your mental health and shit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
well,
taking it to
like
get
a baby
fucked up.
that's- No, I know. I've microdosed to chocolate mushrooms
I love
before.
microdosing.
It's great, but here I'll.
Wait, how long did you take it?
Like 30 minutes.
Oh, so you haven't feel it yet?
It's not even a lot. It's a microdose.
How much did you take? 5 squares?
Took one tiny square.
Oh, that's it?
I used to have like a crumb of a square. That's how scared I was to like actually
Yeah.
feel it. I was just like,
Have you ever fully dosed?
Yes, but only twice. And the last time I did it was probably like 6 years ago. But it's so much fun.
Doesn't that like change like your mental like?
Completely.
But like in a good way. It's like, it turns off like your standard default way of thinking, which like for a lot of people tends to be kind of bad because they're usually like ruminating with the past or the future, and it makes you just turn on the present.
She's spot on.
Yeah.
She definitely taken a mushroom
Yeah.
before.
It's like an ego death,
Sick.
right? Like you have an ego death.
Yeah, at that level for sure.
I found it very
Me 30.
challenging.
Found what?
Doing mushrooms and acid and shit and losing my ego.
That's
Just,
very
like,
challenging.
very used to having that. Yeah, it's a big part of me.
The ego?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fucking bizarre experience losing it for a while.
Okay.
I like to think it's been recording this whole time, right? Yeah,
Uh-oh.
solid.
Someone's getting in trouble.
So you've dabbled with mushrooms. You have as well?
Yes.
You explained
Totally.
it like really like artfully.
Well, that's why that's like the reason that I like microdosing is like turning off your normal default brain setting where you're like constantly thinking about the shit you shouldn't be thinking about, the shit that makes you kind of unhappy, and then just staying present. It's like the gateway to meditation without having to go through all the meditation training.
Practicing
You
to
know,
be able to do it,
practicing.
yeah.
So it's kind of like a shortcut into that.
When did you first experience it? What turned you on to it? Because that's the thing that I'm really interested. Like most people, it's still looked at very like, oh, that's scary, that's bad, don't do that.
The first time I did acid, I did it like accidentally because I was always one of those people that thought like, oh, if I do acid, I'm gonna go crazy, schizophrenic. I'm gonna be that person because that's what they tell you is like there's an off chance that you're gonna it's gonna turn you into this like psychotic person or whatever. So I was drunk and someone gave it to me and I took it and I had the best night of my life and I wasn't scared of it anymore. But I've only ever done it like 2 or 3 times.
You know, it's crazy because like that's the same thing they said about marijuana in the beginning. Like it's gonna make you kill people and go crazy, and it's this crazy gateway drug, and now it's completely legal and okay and like legitimized.
Yeah,
it's just an interesting, like our world's very crazy with the way we like say things aren't okay, and then when they're okay for.
I mean, it's not okay for everyone too, right? There are those people who,
you know,
like I personally can't do weed. I was at his office the other day and they were all smoking around me and I swear I got contact high and I hated it. I don't
like smoking at all.
I do not like smoking at all. It makes me do the thing that he was saying about himself where he starts like psychoanalyzing his life. And for me, that happens in like a negative way. And so I do not like it.
Interesting,
but I like mushrooms.
You know, it's crazy, because like if there's some negative way, like if you're looking at it, then there's something negative already there that like you're kind of avoiding. No,
I don't know. I think it just makes me second guess everything about myself and doubt things that I should know to be normal and true and okay. It kind of just like makes me wonder, am I in the right place at the right time?
This
like,
marijuana does this to you.
Yeah, weed does that to me, but not mushrooms.
Yeah. It's what about you? You dabble in some mushrooms somehow.
It's been years.
Bring that closer to you.
It's been years. I haven't done mushrooms or acid or anything in a long ass time. I'm not necessarily against it. Well, actually, no. Maybe a year and a half ago, me and Sada Baby did an interview, and we took mushrooms for the interview, and it was pretty fun. We definitely got weird. Started talking about some weird shit.
Like a lot of mushrooms?
A significant amount. Like I was definitely feeling it, but not that much. But I mean, I always when I do mushrooms, it does the same thing in my brain, at least a little bit to me, that used to happen when I would do like coke or other drugs.
Mushrooms do the thing that coke does to you?
Only in the sense that once I do a little bit of it, it's like I want more stimulus, like over and over. Like I need to like be feeling new things. Like once I do mushrooms, it's like I can't just chill. Whereas when I smoke weed, I can just chill.
I disagree. We were trying to decorate the Christmas tree 2 years ago, and you decided that you were going to eat those peanut butter cups with the mushrooms inside, and you just laid on the couch and were like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not decorating the tree. Don't you remember
you were
that?
trying to get me to decorate a tree.
Yeah,
it's
no one likes
like,
to decorate trees. I mean,
that's not my idea of like a cool thing to do while I'm fucked up. No.
Yeah, it's all just in general. Like no one really likes to decorate
festive.
trees.
I think it's really
not
fun.
a big decorator of trees.
No.
I
could get somebody to do that.
So you guys have built like a pretty successful podcast, kind of obviously OnlyFans stuff. Since I met you, I remember when I first met you, it was at like the whole Fousey Tube kind of like meltdown show.
Good times.
Good times. When you went from there to like where you are now, like how much did the business grow? How much did the No Jumper podcast thing grow? And like from where you are now, like.
No Jumper is probably making like 30 times as much money now as it was at that time. And that's not even including the porn stuff or anything like that. So, yeah, it's been a good couple of years for us. Like, it feels like every couple months there's like a new thing that comes along. Like, all of a sudden our Facebook's going crazy. Like about a year ago we figured out the Patreon thing and started making a bunch of money doing that. And it's just we just keep figuring out different pieces of the puzzle. Yeah.
How do you find the balance of like the actual content on the web, which obviously anyone can get, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and then Patreon? Because I've always been curious, like how would I make a Patreon if like I'm just already making the content? I don't want to be like now pay for it here.
You have to like figure out how you're going to make more content. Like I know a lot of podcasts that they do like one episode per week for free, and then they do one additional episode that's behind the paywall. That was what I thought I was going to have to do for a long time with the Patreon. Like, I'm going to have to figure out another cast of hosts, and I'm going to have to do another additional podcast per week, and then we can charge for it. We decided we already had been having a lot of luck doing porn star interviews and shit like that. And then but at the same time, there's like some percentage of the audience that just wants to see rapper interviews, and they almost feel like it's like an affront to the brand when we're like taking porn stars and putting them on the same level as the rappers and stuff.
You're talking about on the No Jumper podcast.
Yeah, which I think is kind of stupid, but at the same time, it's like that just opened my mind. Like, we can just keep interviewing OnlyFans girls and Patreon girls or porn stars and we can just put them on the Patreon. They can get naked on the podcast, which we didn't necessarily know 100% was going to happen. But like the first girl that we had on the Patreon was this girl Kazumi, and she got butt naked and she was making her pussy talk, doing a little voice.
Craziest thing.
What?
Yeah,
She was like
talking with her pussy.
She was like using her pussy as a puppet, like holding her lips open and just like making
With her
it
hands.
talk. Yeah, making it talk and stuff.
And
Oh, shit.
It did so good. Our Patreon kind of blew up right away, and I
And
was
she
like,
set the standard.
oh, like
This is like some like Thailand show. Have you ever been to Thailand and seen like a weird show?
I have. I saw a girl smoke a cigarette through her pussy when I
Yeah,
was
like
19.
shoot a fucking
yeah.
ping pong ball.
They did that,
I seen some crazy shit in Thailand.
I've not
Yeah.
seen that.
So, anyways, do you ever find it challenging for like you guys to make enough content?
No jumper.
The whole thing.
See, Plug Talk is like our separate
Podcast.
thing, you know, because that's the porn podcast. No Jumpers in its own world. Do I find it challenging to make enough content? Not really, because at this point we have like a whole big staff of like 5 or 6 different dudes who are doing content on our platform. So I'm only on like a relatively small percentage of it, but then I still push myself to do like 5 podcasts a week and just release my interviews with different people in addition to all the other content that I have all the other guys creating.
So other people host No Jumper, because I haven't
No.
like completely.
AD, T-Rel, Duno, Lil House Phone, Sharp. We got this guy Kiki who does like a sports show on the weekend. So we have a bunch of different stuff going on.
So you never worry that someone's gonna like, let's say one of those guys does better on the podcast like than the other whatever guys. You never worry that he's gonna be like, I'm just gonna go over here and dip and do my own podcast.
No, I
And
think
call
about
it
that all the
jumper,
time.
no?
But I mean, you just kind of have to like figure out like how you're gonna make it seem like a valuable thing, you know? Because if you're gonna dip off and do your own channel, you're probably gonna be talking to a much smaller audience for a period of time or whatever. So I'm always thinking about that, but then also trying to like build up the business so that there's reasons
reason
why
to do
people
that.
wouldn't want to leave. But then also people do shit on their own thing. Like I this dude AD, he was like the first guy that we gave his own podcast on the channel, right? He's like a rapper, and he's from Compton. He loves when I say that. And
Oh, is he not actually from Compton? Or
no,
something?
he is from Compton.
Okay.
He just loves that I point it out every 5 seconds. But like with him, he started doing Twitch too. So like now he's doing his Twitch streams, and he's bigger on Twitch as a result of doing his podcast on No
course.
Jumper. Which that's my ideal situation. Is like you could do whatever the fuck you want outside of No Jumper. Just give me 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Give me 3.
How many episodes are you dropping on there then?
Well, we have like 4 weekly podcasts plus probably 10 interviews a week dropping, and I'm usually doing like 4 or 5 of them, maybe.
Holy shit.
Maybe not 10, maybe.
That's a ton of content.
Yeah, it's a shitload of content, but I like it because we interview so many underground people that this is like, you have to spread your chances out. I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. And then Plug Talk is just like you guys, it's like mostly porn related stuff.
It is porn. It's actually porn. We do like a 30-minute interview with a porn star, and then we have sex at the end.
That's lit.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
I had me on here, and when I started saying that I was gonna have her on here, I got so many messages being like, "You're not ADAM22." Like,
my
I
God.
was like, "What are you talking about?" That's sick though.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Well, it
We
was
kind of
like,
just like merged our two.
I was just like, "Yo, I just want to do an interview." Like, I'm not trying to
well,
be
there
Adam.
was this company, like, Vitali.
Of course.
Vitali does his site, and it's like a lot of boobs and stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Vitali Uncensored
just like
thing.
boob pranks, basically.
We had a company hitting us up wanting us to do something similar, and then we just started talking about it, going back and forth, and we like they didn't want us to do sex.
Yeah.
They thought like, oh yeah, you should just like do podcasts where the girls dump their boobs out or whatever. And as
Which
we
is
started
kind of what you
talking-
do on the Patreon.
So, but
yeah.
wait.
we do that on the Patreon.
But
yeah.
wait, on the I don't. So you're talking, and then you can't have sex on a podcast.
No, we do.
You can,
Like-
and we do.
We take our mics off, and
Okay.
we move to a boom mic, and we fuck on the couch.
Whoa. Okay. So, but like, okay. So is that section is only on Patreon? Maybe.
Yeah. So the
It's on
regular interview,
OnlyFans.
right.
Okay.
You cannot
OnlyFans.
fuck on Patreon.
Patreon has stricter rules, but so you watch that full interview, and we put a big chunk of the interview on YouTube, and we cut it up for TikTok and Instagram and
Okay.
everything. But then we do the interview, and then you have to head to OnlyFans if you want to see the sex part.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking genius.
We
I
really
know.
have to explain it to people. It's crazy. I'm like, well,
No,
we're
it's genius.
fucking on the podcast.
I mean, it's like you guys. This is the crazy thing, right? Like there was porn. There's porn as we all know it back in the day, like magazines, and then porn, and with the big studios, it took the most of everyone's money. And then there's like porn now, and I would say like really, you guys are probably the pioneers of like new age porn.
Well, to me,
Like the things you're doing, this is I don't see anyone else doing this kind of like conversation.
yeah, I don't really know anyone. Maybe they're doing it. I don't know anyone else doing
I
it.
assume they're coming. They're probably working on it. Although to be fair, it's just like not something that a lot of people are really like equipped to do. Like most people who do podcasts would just not do porn, and most people who do porn probably wouldn't really be able to do like a successful podcast.
That's why it's so interesting.
Yeah.
So we are in kind of like a unique space.
And the girls want to do the podcast and the porn with us. With other people, I feel like it might be more of like you really have to pull the girl in because, you know, you already do the podcast thing. Girls are already familiar with you. I've already collaborated with these girls many times. And then, you know, the good thing is like, you know, if you shoot for a studio, they keep the content. We like actually we give the girls the content too, and they also get to sell it on their own personal pages. So it's like a win-win for everybody, which makes me happy because that's the deal that I would want cut for me.
It's fucking genius.
Yeah, because my thing with porn always was like, I'm just skipping past these fucking stupid skits every time. You know,
Yeah,
like,
no one watches the dumb
I
skits.
don't care. I'm never gonna watch.
I think Sylvie would just watch it just for that, jerk it off just for that.
People tell me that. People
Yeah.
are like, you don't watch the skits? Like, I watch every
They make
skit.
a full movie.
Like he comes before the actual scene.
I'm like,
It's
how do you
crazy.
have time for that? Like, I'm when I'm flipping through Pornhub, like I'm never watching more than like
Do you
5
go-
or 10 seconds in a row. I'm skip.
Yo, that's
skip,
so
skip,
true though.
skip. Yeah.
I stopped watching porn completely.
Really?
For like the last 7 months.
You had to get clean. It was too much for you.
Yeah, I just, you know, when you just start going down the rabbit hole and you're like, what am I doing with my
I'm
life?
watching more than ever since we started doing porn because now I like
You get inspiration?
I appreciate it more. I'll be like watching it. I'll be like beating off, like trying to catch a nut real quick in the morning.
You'd be like, oh, that was a good shot.
And I'll be thinking like, oh, we should do that shot. And I'm like,
I
almost-
screenshot
I'm almost about to,
inspirational shots
pull
all
my
the
phone
time.
out, take a picture of the girl's ass to send to her, and then I'm like, well, it is like 9 a.m. Maybe I don't want her to know that I'm beating off right now.
I always know when you're beating off.
It's
okay.
crazy. It's crazy though. Like you still beat off, but you have so much sex.
Yeah, well, it's like training. Like I have to
Yeah.
beat off like.
Stamina training.
I get that. I
Yeah.
can relate to that.
People don't get it that like it'll be Tuesday and I'll have a Plug Talk episode at noon and at 2 p.m. and I have to beat off like early in the day so I can be like desensitized and like ready to go
For time.
You know, so
Yeah, I get
a lot
it.
of times I'm busting three plus nuts a day
Damn.
for the podcast.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He'll be like,
Like,
Got,
so-
gotta go in there. Why stop doing that?
Yeah, he's like, don't dab me up no
Stop
more.
doing this. It's
Yo,
too
so
weird.
when you guys first met, like obviously you were kind of already doing stuff like what on Snapchat?
Kind of, yeah.
Just-
but it was
no,
like,
she asked me on our like first time hanging out, like, what do you think of this idea about the
yeah,
private
because I
Snap
had
thing?
like sexy photos on my Instagram, and so it was the kind of thing that like people had approached me about, like, hey, have you ever thought about selling your nudes? But I wasn't on board yet because
Yeah.
I was still like a regular person at the time who had never considered doing that sort of thing. And then
So you were just doing sexy content on Instagram.
Not even
I was just posting like bikini photos, like the kind of thing that like is totally
like a regular girl.
Any girl
posts
normal would
nowadays,
post that,
you know,
right?
But like
Yeah.
it was a little early. And I remember her saying like, yeah, it's like I'm gonna charge people like $5 a month and I'll just like post some like, you know, pictures of my ass or like, you know, little shit. And I'm like, people are gonna pay you $5 a month for that.
Look at
Like,
this. Look
No,
how
it
it's
wasn't even
mind-blowing.
$5. It was $30,
Oh,
and it
but-
was like my first month. You know, I had no followers back then.
But
in
this
comparison.
is before OnlyFans
Yeah,
was
it's
like
before
this
OnlyFans
thing
and everything.
that everybody understood. So she's explaining the concept of an OnlyFans to me, and I'm just thinking like, you got your head up your ass.
Wait,
Nobody
so was-
spent $30 for
No,
that?
but
we hadn't heard of it before. It was like a totally new idea, you know.
You were talking about on OnlyFans. at
No.
the time.
There
was-
was no
it was private
OnlyFans.
Snapchat at the
It was
time.
like
Okay.
you sold access to your Snapchat. Like you would become friends with me, but you'd be paying me $30 a month to be
I
my
remember
friend,
that
and then
shit.
I
I
would be
remember
posting
that
nudes
shit.
on my story, so then you'd see my nudes. And like someone approached me and was like, "Hey, if you do this, you'll make $6,000 a week." And I was like, "What? There's no way." But when I told you, you were like, "Oh, you should definitely do it."
And did you make $6,000 a week?
My first month, I made over $30,000, and I had like no followers in comparison to what I have now.
What did
Yeah.
you have? How many followers? Do you remember?
Like 50K
Yeah.
maybe on Instagram.
So would you recommend like because obviously people are going to see this and like they're interested in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you recommend people do this shit?
I mean, it was a very different time on social media back then.
Yeah.
So back then it was easier to grow on Instagram. I think one of
Way
my photos
easier.
hit the Explorer page, and I got 50,000 followers from that photo.
This is what year would it have been?
2016.
Didn't Lil Uzi
You know-
Lil Uzi like the booty
Yeah,
pic,
he
right?
liked one of my photos, and it got on the Explorer page, and it got so many likes. And you know, back then you could do swipe ups and links, and you weren't going to get deleted immediately for things like that. So
Yeah.
you could straight up be like, swipe up to watch me have sex, and you know, so it was easy to grow and make a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Versus now,
Now it's so
You just
different.
get
They don't even,
shattered.
you know what's crazy? You know what's going on now? Because I don't even know if I should say this or not, but like I'll talk to people at Instagram who like, you know, they're not really supposed to be telling you shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'll find out that if you say certain things on your story, you get shadow banned.
Oh yeah.
And you don't even know that it's happening.
Yeah.
Like, except when you go look at your engagement, you're like, wait, why did I go?
But if
from
you
like
go
half?
try to type in your name using another account, then you'll notice you have to type in the whole name in order for your name to pop up. And it happened on my like really safe for work mom account. I like shared one of Nicki Minaj's really nasty photos on my story.
Not
and
nasty. There are
it
barbs
was
watching
nude.
this.
It was naked. She was naked, and I posted it to my story, and I was like, "Why is this allowed?" It got deleted from my story.
Yeah.
I appealed it. It got reposted, and then it got deleted again, and I got shadow banned for sharing a photo that Nicki Minaj still has on her Instagram right now. So it doesn't take a lot for you to get shadow banned on Instagram.
This is the same thing. I mean, there's different versions of it now. But I did Joe Rogan posted this picture of like when all the insurrection shit was happening. There was like the guy with horns and like a beard, and everyone was tagging me like on Twitter, and they're like, "Is this you?" Just jokingly.
Yeah.
And I posted it to my Instagram, and I was like, I just captioned it, "This is not me," and I got tons of engagement, and then it got taken down. Joe Rogan had the same picture up. You know what I'm saying? They treat things different, but
totally different.
But this whole shadow ban shit's interesting because like there's different levels to it. Like there's 14-day one, there's like a few day one. And the one that I realized what kept happening to me, because I would post clips like on my YouTube where I'm like saying something like "fuck you" or "I'll fuck you up" or something stupid, and they give you like a 72-hour like ban.
But they tell you?
They don't tell you this shit.
Okay,
they don't even
but
tell
you
you
just
what's happening.
notice with your engagement.
And they deny
Yes.
that this is even a thing.
Yeah,
They deny that
they
this
they
exists.
deny that shadow ban exists publicly
Why?
because they don't want to admit to
If
it.
they admit to it, then they might have to actually be transparent about it, which I think is their
Yeah.
worst nightmare, because they wouldn't be able to even handle the flow of having to maintain all these conversations with people and everything. But that's why the social media companies really need to be regulated by the government, and I feel like it's probably coming at some point.
Yeah, I wonder what that's gonna do, because then it's at any sort of point where there's a great major regulation, it's gonna definitely affect the end user and also the creators.
Yeah, I
Obviously.
don't know. It might be worse, honestly. But I mean, things have got to change at some point, because fucking Instagram's crazy. But I mean, like even TikTok, she just got her TikTok deleted. Her TikTok is like damn near all stuff with the kid / her just looking cute. Nothing even remotely.
And I hadn't posted in
Nude.
over a month. I swear they just look you up and they're like, "Oh, she's a porn star on Google, therefore
Yeah,
she's getting
it's
deleted."
crazy.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've even one of the girls that I manage, Noelle. She just would get like kicked off of things just because she's in a bikini, and they're like, she's young, but she's not that young. She's 21.
Yeah.
But they'll just be like, okay, I don't know if she's 16. They say like child stuff, but it's like she's
The
20.
algorithm thinks she looks too young, so they just
So-
like
yeah,
treat her
I
like
mean,
she's too young.
I
That's
lost
crazy.
an Instagram page recently, like my 4th one, for impersonating myself. Like this is how fucked up the app has gotten. You
It's
know?
crazy. The crazy thing is you don't really, they never really, you don't have anyone to reach out to. It's like they just kind of like, hey, good luck. And if you can kind of figure out to talk to someone, you get some information, but you don't really get much help.
And we're all
Yeah.
people with millions of followers. Imagine what it's like for regular ass people that
Yeah,
have
you're getting
nobody
nothing.
to listen to them when they get deleted and shit. Because I hear it all the time from rappers who are on jack shit. They got like 20,000 followers or whatever, and they just like get their shit deleted, and
They have to start all
it's
over.
insanely devastating to their career at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I hope at some point I don't know, like maybe you could just email like.
It's just crazy because
There's
it's
no
so
customer
much worse.
service at all.
It's so much worse. Remember, like back 5 years ago, this was not happening to anybody. If you heard about somebody in their Instagram deleted 5 years ago, they basically probably had to like murder somebody on their
Yeah, do some fucked
feed.
up
You
shit.
know, like really bad.
What do you
Now-
think is causing the constriction? It's just more and more.
I feel like
constricted.
they're trying to create better and better tools to figure out who's doing bad stuff on the app. And I think these tools are not working properly, and they're
Yeah.
getting a lot of people deleted. But I think in taking all those people down, they're taking down people who aren't actually breaking the rules.
Yeah.
But they're trying to improve. I think they're making the effort. It's just not working well.
It's just the way the algorithm's set up. It just seems to
Yeah,
be
like if you
targeting.
use, let's say you call someone a bitch, but it's a joke. Like they see the bitch as a bad word, and
Yeah.
then they shadow ban you for that. But you're making a joke, maybe even to yourself.
But
you
they're
know?
inherently changing the way that we use social media, because even for me, if you posted something making fun of me as a joke and I wanted to respond like, "Hey, shut up, Bradley, you big bitch,"
Yeah.
my mind would immediately go to no, don't do
No,
that, because
you
Yeah.
get bullying.
Yeah, it's fucking
deleted.
crazy.
The dude I was just telling you about, like somebody posted something joking around with him, and he commented, "I'm gonna kidnap you," and he can't post for 24 hours because he's wrote, "I'm gonna kidnap you," even though obviously he was not actually planning on kidnapping.
Yeah, it's
this
like
guy,
joke. You
know?
can't really even make jokes anymore.
But now everybody knows that, and now everybody like codes their language so
Yeah.
that you can't, like, even the gang members I know who are like the most violent people, and they're basically threatening each other online. They just come up with this crazy slang that like is hard for me to understand, would be impossible for a regular person to understand. But that they figure out ways to say, "I'm gonna shoot you,"
So they can still get
without
those
saying,
threats in?
"I am going to shoot you," because they'll be all over that.
You've had some incidences with that, huh? Like someone pulling up on you with some guns.
That did happen. Yeah.
Is it so? Do you ever feel like maybe you I don't know, want to get further away from that sort of industry as you kind of like you have a kid, and do you ever worry about that?
No. I just like am more careful.
What do you think?
I worry every time he leaves for work. I worry. I'm not gonna act like I don't. I do think that maybe sometimes my worry is a little irrational, but especially now that we have a kid, like I was never afraid of dying until I had her, and now I'm constantly afraid of dying because I'm like, I have such a purpose. Like, who is gonna take care of you? I'm the best one suited for this job, and same for him. He's the best suited person to be her father, and so every time I like worry what's gonna happen to him, I worry about her, and it's like. It's crazy how it happens overnight. I just like I was always living my life in such a way where it was like, shit happens, and now everything's so serious. Yeah,
do you feel the same way after having a kid?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Except like not worrying about the gun. You don't worry about that. It's like you kind of can't worry.
No,
about
I worry about it, but it's just like I'm not gonna like protect myself by not leaving the house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna protect myself by keeping people around me to protect me. Like with the store now, like when you came to do the interview at the store back in the day, there was no fucking security.
Yeah,
like,
no, we just pulled up.
Yeah, and now it's like we have a new store opening on Fairfax probably within the next like month or two, and it's like immediately when we're talking about how much money it's going to cost, it's like, okay, we're going to have full-time armed security all the time, like big ass gun out on his hip so that nobody ever thinks that they can fuck around.
Yeah,
which is that's just.
It's just
probably
a
lot better than not leaving the house, But then at the same time, I mean, like you see that shit that happened to Kodak. He went to a Justin Bieber party and he's walking out and he gets shot in the fucking leg.
It's like I'm curious, like because I just saw him the other day. My buddy Steve gave him like a car in Miami, but like how do you? Because apparently he was with Lil Baby and like one other famous rapper, and like how would you just randomly get shot though? Like what do you think's happening? Like because like it's not like it sounds like celebrities are there. It's not like there's random people that can just pull up.
But even celebrities got guns sometimes.
It's like was one of his homies accidentally shoot him?
I've watched like videos that basically break down what happened, but I mean, more or less, it was just like entourage members of another rapper who ended up getting in a scuffle. Like somebody bumped into somebody, somebody's yelling at somebody, boom, all of a sudden they're just getting into it, which is like that's the scary part is that like, yes, somebody showing up to try to kill you is scary, but that's like way less likely than
like a random shot.
You just being there and some bullshit just goes off. You're standing there with the wrong person and somebody decides they want to shoot them, and maybe you're just standing there. I mean, that's the shit that scares me.
Because that could have been like a headshot. Like who knows how random the shots are, right?
He got shot in the leg, and he was happy. He was laughing about it. He's like, "Oh, they finally got me."
Yeah. He was limping.
But honestly, if I got shot in the leg, that's how I would feel too. I would be so thankful. Like, fuck yeah, the leg, hell yeah.
I'd be moving to another state if you got shot in the leg.
Not a leg.
I would be so extra about it.
I'm not gonna lie, the leg is definitely a spot where I wouldn't mind getting shot at. For sure.
I mean, if you're gonna get shot, shit, the leg sounds pretty good, I guess, right?
Yeah, you have to get shot, but
I don't like this conversation.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not. I mean, but it's real. I mean, it's a real thing. I'm just curious, like, how the fuck? Yeah, it sounds like entourage shit. But you've had experience with like, I mean, you've met even like what X? You knew X way before, obviously that happened.
Did his first interview.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Do you think more and more rappers are gonna get shot?
I mean, it's like every fucking day, but
it's like inevitable.
I would say that like gangster rap is more popular now than probably ever. And when I say gangster rap, I mean like people rapping out gangster shit, and that includes dudes basically in the hood with like 10,000 followers who are making crazy ass records like saying that I'm gonna kill your fucking uncle and all this bullshit. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's probably not slowing down anytime soon, at least based on what we can see happening in the culture, because I feel like the music just amplifies the conflict between people so much.
You think it's because like I feel like listening to gangster rap shit back in the day, it wasn't as I mean, like how actual gangster is it? You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, is it really like that, or they say it because it sounds cool?
No, it's crazy. Yeah, it's because it's like back in the day when we would listen to rappers diss each other, they would be dissing other rappers, right? Like the other day, I was interviewing somebody from Dipset, and we're talking about what rap was like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and it's like I said to him, I'm like, I never heard you guys diss anybody besides other famous rappers. And he's like, yeah, because why would we? Why the fuck would I have a record deal and then be putting out a record to say, hey, fuck Carl down the street?
Right.
But now with these rappers, it's like, that's just what they do. Like, it's just inherent. Like, there's so many rappers I could name that basically only have a career because they are dissing each other. And it's like the fans are so good at this point at knowing what's real and what isn't that they just latch on to the shit that they can tell is real. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really bizarre cycle.
How do you know, like, obviously you say you did one of X's first interview. Like, how would you spot talent and be like, oh, this is going to be good?
I mean, that was when I first started doing interviews. So
How old were you?
This was 2016, so I guess it was 6 years ago, so I would have been 32. And I was just downtown, had the bike shop, and there was just people hitting us up all the time, like, you know, like wanting to do interviews. There was like, you know, underground artists that I knew about. I had a lot of people in my comments telling me to interview him at that time, even though he only had maybe like 10,000 Twitter followers.
So people, they loved him.
I remember he had 16,000 SoundCloud followers, and the song "Look at Me," which was like his biggest song at that time, that had 1 million views on SoundCloud, which is like really not that big. Like if somebody asked me for an interview now and they were like, I have 1 million plays on SoundCloud, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I just like thought the music was all right. And it was honestly so early in my career that it wasn't like I was just doing some interview with this like really small artist. It was like, no, I was interviewing a lot of small.
Because you were building
artists.
yourself as well.
Yeah, because I was taking every single tiny opportunity that I was getting offered. And he also really wanted to do the interview. And I had seen all these videos of him fighting.
Yeah.
He had been like stabbing people and beating the shit out of people on camera and stuff. So I was like kind of fascinated by that part of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. Like that, like your whole come up in the at least the music industry and the interview like industry in regards to it. Was there any inspiration like in that? Like, how did you know to go in that direction when you're like, oh, I'm going to do this podcast, I'm going to interview rappers and it's going to be this thing?
I was already doing interviews with BMX pros for like a year, maybe 2 years before I really started interviewing rappers. And like, I would just get opportunities here and there to interview like underground SoundCloud rappers, and they would do really well. And then I just like kind of slowly started to realize like, wow, people are really gravitating towards this. Because even with No Jumper at first, when I started it was like I was interviewing comedians and YouTubers and porn stars and people with clothing lines and all kinds of shit. And then as time went by, it started to become like, oh, like people want me to just be a rap podcast. Like no matter who I interview, people are treating this like a rap podcast. And just started to become clear to me like I'm way better suited to do these rapper interviews than pretty much anybody else, because I didn't see anybody else who was doing content at the time who was trying to interview up and coming rappers. Now that's so common. It's like now sometimes I don't even really, it's hard to get excited about interviewing underground rappers because there's so many people doing it that it just feels blown out. But at that time it felt like incredibly essential, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And at what point did you guys meet?
I feel
Very
like we
early.
honestly met like kind of right after you interviewed X. I remember we went shopping one day to IKEA, and I remember you played X from. You're like, this guy, he's gonna be next. And
because
I
usually
remember
after I
that.
interview people, I
Yeah.
don't really listen to them that much, at least
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
because it's like I'll listen to an artist a shitload till I interview him, and then I kind of need to take a break for a period of time. And like for some reason with X, I kept listening to him, and I
Yeah.
was like,
He's dope.
I was telling her, I'm like, you know, this dude's really gonna be something. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months later, it like
He
exploded.
blew up, yeah. So
And
that-
sometimes when smaller YouTubers ask me like, how did you become like, you know, they're like, I've been doing content for a couple years and I feel like I have a good fan base, I got a couple 100,000 subscribers, etc. Like, how do I really take it to the next level? And when I really like ask myself why my shit blew up, it's like it was that interview. And some other interviews too, because it's like around that time I had the first 6ix9ine interview, I had the first Lil Yachty interview, I had the first of a lot of people's interviews, but the X one was just on
is it still your biggest
steroids.
one ever?
Yes, and it's almost the biggest hip hop interview of all time on YouTube.
Holy shit.
The only ones that are bigger in terms of views are 6ix9ine and Soulja Boy, both on Breakfast Club.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
And what
met
about the
right
co-
at that time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. That's
yeah.
right when we met. Yeah, so I've watched all of this.
When did you realize you loved him? And when did you
When did I realize I
This
loved
is a really
him?
cool
Day
question.
one, before she met me.
Yeah,
Shut
you're
up.
stupid. Yeah. Like at what point, like how many years in were you like, I love this guy?
Years? I wouldn't say it took years.
Hell no, it took a week.
I mean, I liked him, but I felt like I kept my distance because he was just like such a scumbag, you know? Like I knew that, especially in the
Fuck
very
yeah.
beginning, I was a booty call. Like he was not treating me like I was somebody to love.
I feel like that's how most relationships kind of
Especially here, yeah. I feel like for sure.
That's all I had in me.
But he went on a trip with his family, and so he was gone for like 10 days, and he was like, I think you were at some party with Lil Pump and there was a bunch of porn stars there and you were like, I think I might get my dick sucked later and FaceTime you. And I was like, no,
Wow.
that's okay. I don't
Wow.
want you to FaceTime me. That's because I was still playing it cool. Like, I'm cool. I'm not
Cool chick, yeah.
You know, we're not exclusive. I'm cool. And I was like, no, that's all right. You can do whatever you want, but don't FaceTime me.
Hey, you text her that?
He texted me
That's
that.
so
He was. I
sad.
feel like he was testing me. And
probably
then
was.
I was like, yeah, do whatever you want, but like, don't call me. I'm good. I don't need to see that. And then he was like, all right, but like, if you do anything, I'll kill you. And I was like, okay, he loves me.
Oh my God.
Oh, I think I was on a Xanax. I don't know. It's all a big blur.
Yeah, I mean, you're at some porn party or whatever. I was like, okay, he really likes me.
He really likes me because he said, I'll kill you though if you.
If I do anything. I mean,
you
I
do
wasn't
anything.
going to because I was like, in my head, I was like exclusive with him, you know, but I knew he needed a little more time. But
yeah.
he's
So
a very
sweet.
different man now, so we'll forget about this part of his life. But
For sure. So how did you guys know when you're like, oh, I want to have a kid? When you're like for sure about it? And when you made the decision, were you 100% certain about it?
I've always known with 100% certainty that I've wanted kids, and I felt like I've always been prepared psychologically, not like financially, but like, you know, by the time we decided we would have kids, obviously all those things were in place. But he decided he wanted kids after he met his nephews, but we weren't really like certain when we would have kids.
She always wanted kids, and she would always kind of like say shit about it.
Like,
and
look
just,
how cute they are.
oh, like if we had a kid, yada yada, and like, you know, it was always just kind of the thing where she would bring it up, and I'd be like, like,
Yeah.
I ain't talking about that right now.
We
I
went
don't know.
trick or treating in October for 2019 with his nephews, and he was the one to me was like, well, you know, we're already not going out to a party tonight. We're going trick or treating with my nephews instead. Like maybe
Might as well not,
maybe
man.
we should have a kid. So
Wow.
Then it was his idea. It always has had to be his idea. All of our relationship moves because I
Sounds
was
like
never
me.
gonna like push him in any direction. You know, like he was like, I'm never gonna move in with a girlfriend, and then 2 weeks later was like, will you move in with me? So
Yeah.
he's always had to make the call.
When did you realize you loved her?
Tell me.
It's kind of a difficult question.
Well, it was like that whole acid trip thing kind of like made me like move out of the house that I was sharing with a bunch of dudes at that time. And I just kind of realized like, oh, I need to start taking my life more seriously. And so I move out, and then all of a sudden, like I'm hanging out with her more and more. And over time, I started to realize like, oh, like she actually cares about me. Like she doesn't just want to like
What-
fuck me and like go out to the club with me or some shit, you know?
What made you realize that though? Like what actions of hers made you realize she actually loved you and didn't just want to get
Very,
the
very-
Doing
clout?
your laundry for no fucking
She was
reason.
very tender, just like really like clearly like just gave a shit. Like I don't know. She just like actually let me kind of walk all over her for a while until I figured out that like, oh, like she actually really cares about
I
me.
feel like
You know
you're waiting for me to be unloyal. Like at some point, you're just like always
100%.
waiting.
Like,
wait,
what-
guys are always waiting for that.
100% a fact. What he's saying, it sounds fucked up, but it's so accurate.
Yeah.
Like really, like spending time with a woman and then not trying to like maliciously just treat her bad, but you almost want to kind of see like, well, what is she really here for? Is she going to stick around
Yeah.
through this? And then like, how do you act in relationship to those things as they happen? Is it like, are you super mad about it? And it's like, it's so fucked up, but you're saying it's so true. The way that you kind of figure it out, at least, I don't know, I'm identifying with him on this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
really-
our relationship had phases, and the beginning phase is like you're kind of testing each other. You're trying to figure out like what the other person wants, and then once you graduate to this place of like, okay, now we're solid. Now we know that we are for each other.
Because it
And
seems
then
like
we kind of let
sexually,
each other in more.
sexually, it's way easier to figure that out. At least from my perspective, like it's easier to figure that out with a woman than to figure out like the actual relationship part.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, could you relate to that? Like, it's easier. You're like the sex. You could figure the sex out.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, realistically, I could have sex with almost any woman and have an alright time, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then, like, think about like you guys waking up together in the morning, making breakfast around the same time, brushing your teeth, taking showers, leaving the house together, and then actually linking up at night and then spending more time with each other. If you could pull all that off and actually be on the same page as the other person, and that's just the bare minimum. That's like a regular day. That's not even talking
I
about
feel like I just didn't annoy you. So many people annoy you that you're just like, she's not
Oh,
annoying.
you
She
annoy
can
me,
hang out.
But you know, you make up for it.
But that's
another way.
normal though. That's normal. Little annoyance. It's good.
I mean, I find it
What
to be
you're saying
very
is-
annoying. It's okay.
What you're saying is so fucking accurate though.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
And
So-
she somehow broke me out of my little framework I was already in of just.
I made him a
fucking
little
random girls.
softer.
Yeah,
And then our baby made him a lot softer.
Oh my
So
God.
now I get a soft version of him, and it's cool.
she's a nice kid. Yeah.
Would you based on your experience and the things that you guys are doing, would you want your kid to grow up and do the same thing? I'm always curious about this.
Is it a job?
Exactly. Let's say she grew up and she was like, I want to do what you're doing.
I mean, we might disagree about this.
whatever you want.
I feel like as long as she's doing what she's doing because she actually wants to do it and feels good in it, then I would support her. I am afraid of the same things that I deal with for her, which is like just things girls deal with, like the job I'm in.
Yeah.
It makes me care about my outward appearance more than I would like to care about it. And I wouldn't necessarily want those
Like
feelings.
physical appearance?
Physical
or...
appearance, like the industry I'm in, I'm like, okay, can my boobs be perkier? Should I get a breast lift? And like all the girls in this industry, like this is all they're constantly talking about because our job is our physical appearance. And I know that in the grand scheme of things, like that shouldn't matter. Like this is just the outward shell that contains the person. And so I want her to know that what's inside matters more. But how could I convey that to her while also living the life that I live? And so that's like one of the reasons that I wouldn't necessarily want this for her, but not because of the actual sex part, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does. Because I don't think that that's inherently bad or immoral or unethical.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I think regardless of that industry or not, it seems like most women in general are pushed down that same path of like, you have to look like this. You have to be like this.
It's the same reason I wouldn't want her to have a TikTok at 13 is because I those same things happen to girls who are on social media. If you just look at the statistics, it's really bad for them.
But like if my kid found herself at, 21 and it was like, oh, you could have this like normal job and make, 40 grand a year, or you could, post photos of your boobs on OnlyFans and make 40 grand a month. I mean, I would have to be a pretty big dickhead to be like, no, you cannot do that. I really I want to raise a good kid that is going to have a good head on her shoulders and that is going to not fall for some bullshit that some dude is selling her or whatever. But ultimately, like whatever she wants to do with her life once she's of age is what it is. I just want to equip her to be the smartest, most equipped for the world person. But ultimately, if that leads her into going and doing something like OnlyFans, I mean, hey, this is what it is.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
to mention there's a shitload of girls that we know on OnlyFans are making a fuckload of money just posting cute photos and stuff.
It's
not
even
like
lingerie shit.
yes, her mom might be eating dad's ass on OnlyFans, but I mean,
stop it! Don't even say that.
it's not like every girl's doing that,
God, it's so funny, dude. It's so fucking funny. I love it.
Yeah, your mom's a little crazy.
I'm crazy.
Well,
You're
dad
nuts.
too, yeah.
Which one do you think he's actually crazier than you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think you're actually crazier than her?
Well, I mean, by any objective measure I could think to measure craziness, yeah, probably.
I feel like my job title makes people think that I'm some crazy being.
No, you seem super level-headed and actually really smart.
I'm just pretty normal, and I feel like sometimes, especially now that I'm a mom, I need to really break out of that and listen to some ratchet ass music to go and do my job, because it's like I'm fighting these two different. They couldn't be more different, right?
Super different.
She came to my office the other day, to do a meeting with one of our employees, a Plug Talk employee, and it's at my place of work, the No Jumper office, and there's a lot of blunts being smoked. There's a lot of gangsters pulling up to do interviews and whatnot, in and out the whole time. There's a lot of loud music. There's a lot of people screaming at each other, telling crazy loud jokes, etc. And she's just like, wow, it's a fucking party in here today. And I felt very proud, because that didn't really feel like a party to me. It was just this is just a normal day.
That's a normal
at
work
the
day for
office. And I was just like, you haven't been here in a while. That's cool.
But 99% of my time, I am I'm in sweatpants. I'm chasing around a dog and a daughter with changing her diaper. And then I have to go a couple times a week and get my glam done and totally change my frame of mind and just be seductive for the camera and create a fantasy for the consumer who's watching.
Is it hard?
And it's I guess I'm still trying to figure out the balance, but I'm getting more used to it for sure.
Because I find the thing that I find most interesting, and I can relate, obviously not to the porn stuff, but filming content, specifically something that I really love to do, which is training, and then now having to make it content for everyone to digest, to get some sort of information or entertainment or whatever. So it's obviously sex, we all love to do it, right? And then now you have to go, okay, now I'm having sex for a purpose, which is to entertain, like you said, to look a certain way. So does it affect the way that you are actually having sex? Does it make it better or worse? Because
honestly,
I know,
sometimes when we're having sex on camera, I like forget that the cameraman is there, and it's like I am enjoying myself so much. I want it to go on forever. I forget that it's a film,
That's
and
lit.
it's like it's so much fun
dope.
because I would say that like off-camera sex is more fun sometimes because you're not thinking about like, am I opening up enough? Can the viewer actually see
Does
my
the angle look
vagina, the
different?
angle,
Yeah.
whatever? But there are times where that line gets completely blurred. And we had a threesome with this girl who hasn't even come out yet for Plug Talk, Kira
my
Noir.
God.
And I kept telling him like,
What's her name?
Kira Noir.
Okay.
She is gorgeous. And like I had done a lesbian scene with her.
Yeah.
And I kept telling him like, she's so good at eating pussy. She like just rubbed me all over. She made me feel so good. I wanted it to go on forever. And then we had her on Plug Talk, and like I'm watching her fuck him, and I'm like, it's good, huh? Like it's great, right? And
That
like
blew my mind.
she's an amazing kisser, and I could just see it in his face, like wow. And like that was one of those scenes where I was like, it didn't feel like work at all. It was just
telling
so much fun.
All my friends, I was like, hey, if y'all ever get a chance to fuck this girl, do it, because this is a wild ride.
Wow. So do you ever get jealous shit like that? Because that's so it's so different. That like most
Yeah,
people can't
I
say,
mean,
oh,
So I don't get as jealous as I used to, because before I was like way more insecure in our relationship. I wasn't sure how much he liked me. I wasn't really sure if he wanted to be with me. And like, you know, as our relationship has gotten stronger and stronger, it's kind of harder for me to get like truly, truly jealous. If I watch a girl deep throat him and I can't deep throat him that way, I am kind of bummed, because I'm just like, my
shit.
mouth is just physically not as big as her mouth. So like I cannot do it. And I know he likes being deep throated. I hear the voice that happens, the noise that comes out of his mouth. I'm like, he really fucking likes that. And I can't do it.
And I got my dick sucked by a lot of girls in my life. I'll tell you, like she's top 1-2%.
But I'm not Adriana
givers.
Chechik, and I'm not Carmen Karma, and that's okay. I love them.
But when we
and they can do it.
When we're doing Plug Talk, I mean, literally, some of these girls have like the craziest throat game. Like the average dude will never know what it's like to get head from one of these girls. Like they're iconic, like fucking legends of sucking dick.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is weird to like have to like be like, you know, experiencing a girl who has like a superpower with my girl. But I feel like, you know, for the most part,
I keep trying. I can't make my mouth bigger, but if I can get the surgery.
Your mouth is fire.
Thank
Trust
you.
me.
But those are the moments where I'm like, oh, I'm a little jealous, but not enough where I'm like actually mad about it, because like I can't blame him for liking it, and I wanted to do the scene with the girl. She's great at her job. She's talented. She's beautiful. So it's like, you know, I don't know.
how did you guys develop to such a? I mean, it seems like such a dope relationship to be able to even allow that to exist.
I think it's because I've watched him have enough sex, and then as soon as he nuts, he literally leaves the room and turns on YouTube and doesn't give a fuck about the girl. That I'm like, I know it's not going to actually mean anything. You know what I mean? It's not like he's not falling in love with these girls. He's not like trying to fuck them again after. It's like he did it and he's kind of over it.
Sometimes
you know?
I am like, oh, like we should get her to like come hang out for the rest of the night. Like, can we pay her a little more to like come kick it with us all night?
We do not hire prostitutes. That's not how it works. But yeah, there obviously are some girls we have much more fun with. But
You said so. Which ones in particular stood out?
Kira Noir.
Can you write that down? Can you write that down? Can you write that down?
Kira Noir is a goddess.
The most, I don't know. We just had like.
She's
really
so sensual.
But that's the thing about it, is that when you are fucking a really amazing lover with your girl, it is like even it can cause you to have like even more of a connection together.
Yeah.
And there's been a bunch of girls that I could think of. Kenzie Ann, me and her, when we fucked her together, oh my god,
I felt like an animal.
and we
oh my
felt
god, it was
like
so bad.
super connected. Like we went home right after and fucked the shit out of each other for like another half hour. You know, like just because. When you're fucking a girl that you're really having that much fun with, it's just like, I don't know, it's a great feeling. Carmen Karma, we hooked up with, and like, they were both just going crazy. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah,
when
it's
you get
like
a good one, it's really good.
You guys are in group chats with your dudes and you're like trying to explain how much fun you had with a girl, but like your friend's never going to be there. Well, maybe you guys have a threesome, who knows? But like I get to like share my experience with him, and we both get to be like, that girl was so much fun. And you guys can't really like do that with each other.
We get to talk about like a girl's sexual performance, like we're talking about a restaurant that we just went to.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, the blowjob was amazing. Like, I would,
it's so
we
interesting.
need to do that again sometime. That was incredible. Wow, yeah.
And like for Plug Talk, a lot of the time it's like I'm hooking up with the girl first, and he's kind of like off stage watching, and I'm like watching him like, yeah, this is
With
great.
the Kira girl, she fully like made her orgasm before I even got involved. Like I'm looking at Twitter trying to like read about Ukraine and like trying to make I'm trying not to have like a fucking massive red raging boner by the time I go in. I want to be kind of like relaxed when I enter the scene. But I'm watching them hook up for like 15 minutes. I'm getting all
I love
riled
it.
up.
I like to see you just
You never
try to
get
control
jealous of that.
No.
Yeah.
not with girls.
Do you have like an open relationship with guys? Or?
No.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, seriously.
I have a crush
This is
on
why we
Angus
brought
Cloud from Euphoria, and
Euphoria.
Adam has
I
been
just
a little
gotta
bit
take
hurt
it.
about this.
I gotta take it, yeah.
But, I'm like, you interview all these girls on your Patreon. You tell them how hot their boobs are. I got to be able to like a photo here and there, babe. Is that okay?
It's fair.
Okay.
It's fair.
Gotta take a few.
Euphoria's crazy. That whole thing, like, I don't know.
Spoil it for anyone.
Well, I'm not going to spoil
We
it.
had sex with somebody from Euphoria.
Really?
Yeah.
Faye is a porn star, so we actually worked with her in like
Years ago.
2018,
Oh,
2019.
I saw a post or something about
Can
this.
you
I think.
send me the video? Because I honestly don't even really remember hooking up with
Yeah,
her. And I would
yeah,
really
no,
like to review the video. Yeah.
Yeah, go over the footage.
She's she's
play-by-play.
an adult actress. She kept her adult name, which is really cool. But I met her at Riley Reid's birthday like 4 or 5 years ago, and then me and him did a scene with her a few years ago, and we actually saw her at Riley's wedding
And now
last summer.
Now
And
she's Faye.
now she's Faye. Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Character in it.
yeah, character. Yeah,
It's that whole thing's so crazy because it almost kind of like glorifies drug use, like to some crazy extent. It seems like it.
I feel
Obviously, it's like the bad side.
Yeah.
For me though, I feel like I would love my kid to see Euphoria because it's like what you see Rue going through. Like that's really what drug addiction is like. You know,
Yeah.
like it's actually terrible. Like sometimes it does make the actual act of being on drugs seem a little bit sexy and romantic more than it should be. But I mean, music does that too, and I don't know. Like to me, I would like my kid to see Euphoria if they were like 16. Like just fucking this is what this shit is
Life.
really like. This is like how not fun drugs are in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else besides like I know you manage some OnlyFans girls. Do you have any other businesses that people maybe don't know about? Because obviously everything we do is like content out there, putting stuff out there. Do you have any other businesses that you're in?
I feel like everything we do is really public.
Yeah, that's a big goal of mine. Like, I really want to have more businesses that kind of like just exist, not like 100% anonymously, but like that aren't necessarily based on me being on camera. Like I like being on camera, but I already feel like I'm kind of on camera so much that if I'm gonna like people come to me all the time and they're like, I want to start this new podcast with you where we do this every week. And I'm just in my head like, no. I'm like, are you on camera way too much? Like, I would love to. Like, I have a friend who has a fucking cool ass food truck. And I was just like, I could do that. Like I could start a food truck and promote the food truck and make it a cool ass food truck. And then it's not going to involve me sitting behind the fucking grill or sitting on camera, but like I look at my friends who have brands, like my friend Zach from FTP, who's just been the whole time I've known him 6 years, he's just been making clothes and just making the coolest shit that he can. And he wakes up every day. He never is on camera. People don't even know what his face looks like. He covers his face up in photos, and he just makes the coolest shit that he can.
Yeah.
And I respect the fuck out of that because for me, I've always been sacrificing myself, putting myself on camera, telling about last week on the podcast, I'm talking about how I got gonorrhea the week before. And like,
You didn't have to tell it everyone.
I don't give a fuck. I'm just like, I sacrifice myself. Like if I'm going through something and it's kind of tough, I just put it on camera.
It's all content.
It's like and I feel like I do enough of that I don't really crave doing more of that.
You get tired of it sometimes because I can relate. Like there's times I'm like my whole life seems to be pretty much on camera.
You have to be on all the time. You can't have a day where you like don't feel good enough.
The other day I did
do
5
something.
podcasts in a day, like 10 hours of filming, and I was just like, it felt great to be able to
get it done.
I drop an episode every day of the next week,
Yeah.
and it only took me one day out of the prior
That's
week.
dope. Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like I was so spent by the end of that, and
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck, like I just, I can afford to do like a day, but that's kind of my preference is to have a day where we just fucking knock out all the content for the next week because then I can stay in the same zone. What I sometimes have a problem with is the code switching element of it where it's like I will fucking go in the morning and film a plug talk scene with her and be fucking some girl. Then I got to put all my clothes on, act normal, go do 2 more interviews and then show up back at the house to fuck her in the ass for OnlyFans. It's like sometimes it can be tough to like be switching from one person to another.
It's so funny. Just I
Just
know
take a break.
as a viewer though watching this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, such a hard life, Adam."
I know.
Having to fuck and then having to fuck more.
But all I gotta say about
It's
that
so
is
funny.
you do it because listen, like almost every guy like talks like they could just do porn when in reality like 99% of guys could not do porn. And I say that as someone who I am not a goat of this shit at all. I look at the dudes who are actually like a Johnny Sins or like all these guys that we know who are fucking, they're legends. They show up on set. The girls love them. They're you know, comforting. They make the girls feel comfortable. They can get hard on a fucking snap of a finger. They can fuck you for 2 hours without nutting. And then as soon as the director says nut, boom, they can just do it. I mean, guys at home, be honest with yourself. You can't do that because I can barely do that, and I consider myself pretty good on camera. And they have massive dicks, so there's another thing. If you got a 5 or a 6 inch dick, you're automatically out of the conversation. Nobody wants to see that. You know, like I have a small dick for porn, and I have like a pretty big dick. You know, but like it's just like it's so much harder than you would think, and it's so not just fucking. Yeah. You know, it's not you coming home from the bar after 8 beers and, you know, fucking some girl for 20 minutes. It's not that.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, obviously it's not that. I just think it was just a funny thing when you said it, like, oh, I got to do this. But it makes sense because it's the having to be in this headspace and having to be in this headspace. The same thing you were talking about earlier, being a mom, but then also like coming here having to like be fucking super sexy and seductive and sexual.
And then right when it's over, I'm like, all right, we got to go do bedtime. Got to go do bedtime, you know? Like,
what do you have? What are you most challenged with now? Both. You guys can answer this separately, obviously.
Honestly, I feel like just my identity is just in shambles kind of because I got pregnant, I had the kid, and then right after I had Parker, my Instagram got deleted. So I was like, okay, like I don't have my Instagram. So am I still an influencer?
Lena the plug again.
Yeah, because I just feel like the mom thing is pulling me in so hard, and then, you know, losing your social media, you're kind of like, well, should I just do the mom thing? Is this like what life is trying to tell me? But then it's like, no, because the problem is that when I'm with Parker, I feel like I'm being a bad businesswoman. And then when I'm at work, I feel like I'm being a bad mom. So it's such a fucked up problem. And like, it makes it so that you almost can't enjoy anything that you're doing and trying to find the marriage and the balance. Because I know that like, I don't want Parker to grow up and think like, all I can ever be is just a caretaker. Like, that's totally fine if that's what you are, because it is honestly the hardest job in the world. But I do want more, and I want her to see examples of more. You mean more in yourself of things that you want to do and accomplish? Things that I want to do, and just an identity for myself outside of being a mom. Yeah. Because at some point, you know, she's going to grow up and she's going to want to never be around and just be with her friends and go do her thing. And then what would my identity be then? Then I'll have another identity crisis, you know? And so I think that is just the hardest thing, is just figuring that all out, you know. But it's just fluid. Like life in general is like this. Like we constantly are figuring out, you know, what makes us truly happy, what makes us truly fulfill, what's our purpose, and it's shifting. Yeah, it's really just identifying where you're at and being like, okay, being in it as much as possible. Which is why I think this whole conversation is so interesting, and what you guys do work is like to be best at something at any given time, whether it's porn or it's like the interviews or being a mom. Like you have to like be in it, like be in it as much as possible. And you guys seem to like do that throughout the day, so much shifting to the next thing that seems super exhausting. Yeah. Wake up in the morning and there's like a little rugrat and they're just like, you know, you have to watch their every move because they're just trying to kill themselves all the time. And so you really have to constantly watch them. And then, you know, I'll take her to like her music class. And then after the music class, I'm going straight into glam. And then we're doing the porn stuff and then coming back home and washing off all the makeup and being the mom again. Like, you know, it's just a lot of going back and forth. What do you find most difficult?
It's definitely just the balance, because I mean, for me, like grinding my ass off and just working every day, all day, is like kind of comes naturally to me at this point. I love that. I've just been doing that forever. Like that's like for me to wake up at 8 in the morning and be in the office at like, you know, 10 or 11 and do content for 10 hours and then go to somebody's fucking album release party and film a vlog or whatever. Like that's like the easy thing to do, is just to stay in motion. And there's like a thing that happened once we had the kid where I was like, you know, I'm not going to be happy if I'm just grinding my ass off to make money for the rest of my life and I don't actually slow down and spend some time enjoying this. You know? This is where I'm getting in my life right now. Yeah, like because personally, you know, and also it's like at a certain point, I mean, it was easy to grind fucking 80 hours a week when I like was broke and I was like trying to fucking, you know, get anything going. And then at a certain point, it's like, well, fuck, like if I work my ass off this week to make $20,000 more than I was going to make otherwise, it doesn't matter at all. Like, you know, just it doesn't affect your happiness anymore. So it's kind of like, and it doesn't even affect me financially at a certain point, because you just have done well enough for yourself that it's like, oh, like I could do 5 more YouTube videos this week, and it's like gonna stress me the fuck out and basically like run my whole week. But then the money doesn't even matter to me. At some point, it's just a number. Whereas my kid, if I don't hang out with, I was just gone for 2 days, maybe 2.5 days in Vegas for the fight and shit. And like I get back and my kid is like doing little things, like her emotions are different and she's crying in like a different way. And I'm watching her like just move differently. And I'm like, I don't know. At a certain point, it's
They
like
change so fast.
it just feels fucking like a waste of a life if you aren't like zoned in on what your kid's doing, or a waste of all the work you put in. Because I saw it with my parents, where my parents like they didn't get to spend probably as much time with me as they wanted, but it's because they were fucking broke in comparison to like, you know, what I'm doing. Like they had to do that. Like, you know, I feel like that's the greatest luxury of, you know, doing well for yourself, is that you get to sort of like scale that shit back at a certain point and pay attention to the shit that doesn't make any money but that you care about, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the shit that really matters in life, like those small moments. Because, like, specifically with the kids, like, you're never going to really get that exact time back. Like you say, you come back and they're doing things a little different. You're not going to be able to go back and be like, oh, wait, do that again, start that process over.
There's so many things that she used to do that she doesn't do anymore. And she's only been on this earth for 16 months. You know, it's like, so it really might be the last time you see her do something when you watch her do something. Like, we don't see her crawl anymore. And then, but we couldn't wait for her to crawl for the first time, you know? So it's just like, they're constantly changing. She used to say only hap as of like last week. And now she could say happy, you know? And so everything is just constantly changing and you just want to be around for like all of it.
Yeah. It's fuck, man. I want a kid.
They'll
so
really
bad.
slow you down. They'll really
Dude.
get one.
I want a kid so bad. I'm going to be 33 in like 2 months.
My advice, honestly, is to have everything else in your life figured the fuck out, especially like if in a position like yours, like or ours, where like you got to have employees, you got to have nannies. Like you just, if you think that you're going to be the only one taking care of the kid, but you're also like ambitious, then it's just not going to work, because there's going to be a lot of fucking time where you're not even going to have the option to leave because they're going to need you so bad. But I mean, I feel like with us, like the more and more that we figure out people in our life, like our
whole families are here. So we're pretty lucky. Like, you know, we had.
Well, I got Natalie and her whole family. So
Yeah. You gonna take care of the baby? You're gonna.
We'll figure it out.
I think it's cute that you want to have a kid.
I want to have a kid so bad, man.
But what if you have a
So
daughter?
bad. I mean, I'd love to have.
Okay.
I want.
I feel
I've
like
always,
you want a son.
I've always wanted 2 sons because I
Okay.
grew up without a father, and I've always like wanted to be the father that I didn't have. But I mean, I'm at a point where like I've thought about it for so long that if I had a daughter, I would. I mean, I would love it just as much if I had a son.
He wanted a boy, but.
No, I never said that I wanted either one, and I never really was like rooting for either one. Now that I have a girl, I am kind of like.
She's not believing this
I don't remember
shit.
it like that, but
I literally never said one thing about.
I feel like in the gender reveal vlog, if we go back, you
He's
were
like, his
"I'm
face is
team
like this, he's
boy."
like-
Not true. I don't know why
He
he would
sees
lie
it,
about
he's
that.
like,
That's
fuck.
I'm
crazy.
pretty sure I remember
I
you
never
said
said
boy.
anything about wanting to have a boy. Like I never predicted it. I never like was rooting
For the next one,
it.
I think we want a boy.
No, yeah. I now that I have a girl, I'm kind of like, oh shit, okay. I wonder what it would be like if this was a boy. But going into it, I wasn't trying to root
I feel like
for
we're
it.
gonna have all girls.
I feel yeah. That's okay,
Girl's
man.
dad, Kobe.
That's
All the way
dope,
out
though.
here. Yeah.
But I feel like it's always. I feel like most guys want a son.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I want a son too. I want to experience both. I didn't have a brother, and my family is all girls. All the cousins were all girls for some reason. So I'm interested in also, you know, watching a little boy grow up, but it doesn't matter.
To me, having a daughter kind of feels like safer in a way, because I know how fucked up dudes are. And
Really?
like, granted, I know how fucked up girls are too, but I also feel like it's different.
Like safer in the sense of like physically protected, safe. Yeah.
I mean, if I have a son, there's a lot of shit that I'm gonna have to fucking teach him at some point that mom's not gonna want to know about. That like, you know, like my life.
Yeah.
If I was gonna be honest with my kid about like this is how you move around in the world, there's a lot of shit that I'm gonna have to tell him that I'm really uncomfortable with having to tell him, because I've seen a lot of fucked up shit and I've had to deal with a lot of fucked up situations.
You'll have
And-
to do the same for a daughter though, because it's a lot harder for women to move through the world, don't you think?
Pretty girl gets to live in a fucking fantasy world their whole life, to be honest.
Yeah, because it depends. Because some, I mean, it's the physicality of like the men thing. I'm not. It's just a little different. I'm not saying that like women aren't at danger for certain
Yeah.
things, but it's, you know, you talk about like some gang shooting. It's likely probably not going to be shooting at the girl.
No,
next
yeah,
door,
but I'm
you
just
know?
thinking about like, you know, her walking
lot of bad
anywhere.
stuff, yeah.
Like that's the kind of things
That's
I'm
true.
thinking about.
But
you
I
know,
mean, like my whole 20s and shit, I was carrying razor blades and knives and brass knuckles around with me and stuff. And I just don't know how I would like explain to my kid that that's a rational decision, or not to mention the other stuff that a lot of people associate with me have to carry around every day. You know, it's like, it's just kind of hard for me to imagine like explaining that to my kid and like having to like ready him for that world, you know?
Yeah.
It's scary.
I guess it's like a different attack, right?
there's different kinds of dangers for
Yes.
you know, different people for sure.
Yeah. So Plug Talk has been around for how long?
We launched in November, so
prior to that, were you guys still like doing the threesomes and all that shit?
Just for her OnlyFans, yeah.
Yeah, we were. And actually we started filming Plug Talk like in 2020, back when I was still pregnant. And then once I gave birth, we had to kind of like hold all of our episodes until we got more. So it was like, the idea of Plug Talk is much older than Plug Talk actually is.
And that's why once we started dropping episodes, we had some random episodes where she was pregnant and people were like, she's pregnant again. And
Like, no.
This
But there was a lot of things we had to learn, because like filming porn in LA is not very easy. No one really wants to rent you their house to shoot in. And if they do, they want to charge you like a ton of money. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a house, and this is going to be the Plug Talk house. We'll have our own shoot location, and we won't have to.
Damn, you should set up different rooms with different like seats.
Oh, I did.
That's sick.
I got like an interior decorator, and she like made all the rooms like different styles and stuff.
That's
and like the
fucking
room
dope.
we chose for Plug Talk, it was very retro and old. Like they kept it original, so we like leaned into that, and that's why the design is
love
very
that
like
vibe.
70s and
it.
orange colors and stuff like that. So I'm still working on the house. We're gonna like rent it out to people to do photo shoots and stuff, but that's been like there's just been so many things that we've kind of had to figure out while doing this, because you can't just shoot porn anywhere.
It's a pain in the ass.
Like what? I don't know. How does it go with the regulations on that? I mean, can't you just shoot
It's
it
not
anywhere?
even just like regulations. It's like someone will be like, okay, this is the house that you can get. It's like, let's say $200 an hour. And you know, if you're shooting for 10 hours,
You
and
can't just like low key Airbnb something and just do it.
Sometimes you can,
you
but
just
they
don't want to
come
get your
back-
account shut down. You don't want to get sued. But then
Yeah.
people who do let you rent the house will be like, all right, you can use this room and this room, not this room, not this room, not this room. And you're like, it's kind of an ugly space. It's not the way that you would want to shoot it. The furniture is always kind of funky and weird and not cute. And so we just we were kind of like, let's just be in control of our brand and let's do it ourselves, you know?
So it's gonna go from like Plug Talk, No Jumper, everything you guys are doing to like you're gonna start renting out space for shoots, and it just sounds so. It's like it's cool to me. It's cool as fuck.
I mean,
Just
if you
reminds
get
me
a
to,
house that you don't live in, but you're paying the mortgage on it and it's all nicely decorated, it's like, might as well, you know? And I know a lot of girls who just do photo shoots, like, you know, they need something to post on their Instagram. So, and I rent those kinds of spaces all the time. So I'm like, you know, let me just.
Smart. It's
Let
like
people-
a fucking crazy empire. It's dope. It's really impressive.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're working on
It
it.
reminds me of like the shit that I'm doing in the gym space. It's just like in the adult entertainment industry.
Yeah,
Because you don't see that like you like this whole podcast and then the sex thing. Like I don't know any other podcasts like that.
I mean, we thought of it. Like for
Like,
me,
is there anyone did that prior to you?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
If they do, it's a
I think they're always
mystery.
separate.
Yo, hand me a water, please.
And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have done it the same way that we did it, where it would be easy for you to film a porn podcast like this, where you just have the cameras already filming and you just kind of film it. Like we hired like real top notch like porn filmers and like, you know, professional sound guys, etc. So we spend a shitload of money on our content in comparison to what the average person spends making shit for OnlyFans. But like my long-term vision with Plug Talk, or our long-term vision, I think, is like, this is like the centerpiece of the content, is like that we do a weekly porn podcast where either we fuck the girls or sometimes we have male talent on deck who has sex with them. But ultimately, I think that, you know, we want to build a porn business, you know, like a media company. And I don't know if it's going to look more like Pornhub down the road, or maybe it'll look more like one of the like browser sites or like a Vixen, or, you know, just
an actual site.
Yeah, like I just feel like we have a lot of cool ideas about adult content that we want to bring to the table, and like us just doing this podcast is not the end of it. You know, we've talked about like we have other girls that basically are managed by us, that we've talked about like creating another podcast under that umbrella where, like, you know, maybe they could, like, we could have the girls interviewing male porn stars and they can fuck them after. Feel free to steal that idea if there's anybody listening, or like, you know, we have like a bunch of different stuff we're going to create with it. And I mean, it's just like a cool feeling in general, because I mean, like the Plug Talk thing, like, I mean, I could just not even do the No Jumper thing at this point. Like we could just do the Plug Talk thing and we'd be totally fine. Or like, you know, so for me, it's more about like being creative and like coming up with like a cool ass business with the Plug Talk thing, just because I saw there's so much room for growth in the porn.
Well, that's why I'm saying this, and because I just looked at for like the last few days, and I was talking to you about doing this podcast for like a little bit, and I was looking at all your stuff recently, and I was like, oh shit, this is like really cool to what you're doing, like how you're doing it, and like I said, the progression of it is like you're essentially pioneering this like new age kind of porn industry. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It makes sense, because when I think about it, people pay for podcasts like a lot. Like, you know, mostly for the most part, how many times can I say most? For the most part, people don't pay for podcasts, but there's tons of podcasts that are charging their fans $5 or $10 a month for like additional content. And then obviously people pay for porn all the time. OnlyFans is huge. There's all these porn sites. So it's like, if we could combine the two, and we know that people are down to pay for both of these,
Yeah.
wouldn't people probably be even more inclined to pay for something that combines them?
I was more of a skeptic than him because he's just started way more businesses than me. So in the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know, like maybe people think this is kind of weird, or like I didn't think it was going to be as successful as it is, and it's very, very successful. And
I see it.
I'm
it.
glad
I'm like,
that
whoa,
he pushed me into it because I was like pregnant back then, so I was like, I don't know, this is kind of a weird thing to be starting like right now.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
So creatively, have you always been the more driving force behind it, or is she also really good with ideas? Or
Plug Talk, I mean, the idea was very much like equal. It was just both of us kind of talking about it for months and months and months. And then I feel like she's more, you know, she brings a lot to it in the sense that she just like understands the porn world very, very well. Like she knows what it's like to be a girl on set.
Yeah.
She knows or knew more of like the little details that we had to cover. And like, you know, we now have an employee who kind of like covers like a ton of the bullshit in terms of booking and making sure everything's all right on set. Like I obviously have more experience in terms of doing the actual interviews. So I kind of like take a lead on that. Although I feel like we're trying to always like balance it out more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like 50-50 between me and her.
He's like more of the consumer's perspective, right? Because he's a dude. So
Right.
I feel like this is a good balance to have, because if I was just going to interview the girl for Plug Talk, it would probably not be that sexy of a conversation, is because I want to know more about like the girl behind the sex, and he's trying to get the conversation to be more like in a place where you could jerk off to it. So it's kind of good to have that balance. So like I feel like he kind of takes the lead on the podcast part, and then I kind of take more of a lead on the sex part.
I'm literally sitting there with a boner doing the interview
Yeah.
half the time. So it's like, I don't know.
because you know what's coming.
Yeah, like, and it's just me getting heated, more and more heated.
Yeah,
That's
because
right.
she's telling like sexy, dirty yes stories, and then he watch us take photos, you watch us fuck. Like,
It's just such an interesting thing. Like it's so new. It's so different. I love it. I think it's cool as fuck, man.
Thank you.
I mean, I look forward to it every week. When I look at my day and my calendar, and I'm like, oh, I got to shoot 2 Plug Talks on Wednesday. It's like I'm walking around, a little hop in my step, like, hey,
We got 2 on Friday.
getting some pussy today. A lot of people, like, porn gets a weird stigma, and you see people like Billie Eilish coming out and like just giving the most trash take I ever seen about porn and being like, they all have the same vaginas, and I'm like, bitch, I watched a million times more porn than you, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because these vaginas are like snowflakes. There's a million different kinds. I've seen every different brand out there.
But I could
This is
kind
a
of see
fact.
how that happens for her, because I mean, I'm just gonna say I have a fucking meaty ass vagina with long labia, and like people will constantly be telling me like your shit's loose, but like I don't think they've seen enough vaginas, because there are just vaginas with long labia.
How you tell something's loose just by looking at it?
You can't, and that's
Yeah,
what people
it's
don't
stupid.
understand.
the
It makes
amount
no
of
sense.
external labia that you have has nothing to do with the actual tightness
Yeah,
of your vaginal
the inside.
canal.
Like the
That's
only way your
silly.
vagina gets loose is when you have a fucking baby. You know, it's like
or when you've been getting fucked by gigantic dicks your entire life. I feel like that might have a factor as well.
I think
maybe.
there's
But,
there got to
like,
be some
you
lasting
can't
effects to
tell
that.
from the outside. So like people just really they don't understand the female anatomy well enough.
Yeah.
You know, so I
but
can see that.
When you read these anonymous comments, a lot of times it's like a 16-year-old kid who's like thinking about pussy for the first time, and he's got something to say. It's
Yeah,
like, okay.
ready to fucking bust.
Okay,
anyways.
Brian, whatever you got to say. Yeah.
Off his hate comment, he's like,
I mean, I've just seen it so much that I'm like, wow, people just really don't know. They just don't know these things.
But a lot of people like get their ideas about porn from girls who were like, you know, low-level porn stars in like 2008, and they have a chip on their shoulder because they feel like the porn industry's fucked up. I mean, every girl that I know who's in the porn world is the master of their own future. They get to decide what the fuck they want to do. A lot of the biggest porn girls, unfortunately for the porn industry as a whole, are right now like, I make 6 figures a month off OnlyFans. Why the fuck would I go and like do gangbangs every other day for you? Like when I don't have to, and you're not paying me enough to like even make me want to do this shit. So like, I feel like if anything, porn is more straight up these days than it ever was before, because these girls have so much power, whereas they had none for forever.
but this is the thing. Yeah, they own it now. Like this is because of OnlyFans.
And-
It changed the entire game.
I mean, with everything, like, you know, how you could just voice yourself on social media, the companies are very afraid. They have very extensive, not sexy lists of like what you do and don't want to do. Like so much thought is going into it before the actual scene happens. And, you know, we always have a conversation beforehand. We're like, what do you not like? What do you like? You know, just let us know. We always have that conversation beforehand.
They always say, don't put a finger in my ass.
I always say that, even though I don't think anyone would do
it. It's funny because
it.
it's like in porn, if you're going to do anal, you should discuss beforehand, because especially you don't want any gross stuff shown on camera, you know?
Right.
So it's like really, really obvious that I'm not going to put a finger in your ass unless we discussed that before, but they always say that.
There was a girl that she's like, I don't care what you do to me, just don't slap my clit. And I was like, whoa.
Like a
slap her clit. I was like, she was like,
one of those?
she was like, someone did it to me once and I didn't like it. I was like, what the fuck? Who did that?
But
to
you do like, even without like the no list or whatever, it's like sometimes we'll do a scene with a girl and her giving me head is like my dick going into her mouth and that's it. Like she ain't trying to fuck her makeup up. Maybe she's gonna redo her lipstick. Sometimes we do a scene with a girl where, you know, she's gonna suck your dick for 5 seconds and then she's gonna pull it out of her mouth, spit on it, and blah, 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 just like straight scribble destroyer. You know, some girls go crazy and like, but it's funny because some of the girls that are giving more like normal blowjobs, if I were to like pull my dick out and be like, ah, like they would probably not be that stoked on it, even though these are both blowjobs. You know,
right,
like,
of course.
Technically, I wouldn't really be doing anything that they didn't tell me not to scribble my dick all over their face, but that's like a weird thing because there are.
You got to read the room.
There's
kind of
such
situation,
levels
you know?
to that shit, you know.
I mean, that's an energy thing. That's like
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
know, like,
exactly.
okay, she want this or not. You have to be in tune with that.
And you have to like, as a dude, you have to like have enough experience that you know what's going on. You know?
Where the line is.
Yeah, does the person want it or not?
You know?
Especially when they're new.
Kind of want to do OnlyFans.
Get
You
in
should do it.
there.
He goes back and forth with this.
I want to do this shit.
Put his dick on the camera.
Yeah.
Bro,
You've never filmed yourself having sex ever.
I mean, I feel myself getting head a few times.
I feel like you should do it.
Dude, I want to do it so bad. I think about it often.
You gotta like do a practice run though. Like you gotta have someone see if you can actually work while someone's filming you, or would you all only do POV?
I think I could do it.
You think you could do it?
I don't know. I mean, I have an idea that I think I could do it. I mean, I could do POV for sure.
I thought for sure filming a new porn scene every week would be the motivation that I needed to get in shape. And here we are.
Yeah, it's funny. So do you like not like working out or what?
No, I do like it. I really need to like rearrange my life to be more about exercise and eating healthy because I've just like gotten into like a really bad habit of just not putting in the work that I need to. But especially for me, honestly, is like when I have meal prep coming consistently, I just eat it because I feel guilty about wasting that like $20 a day, even though realistically I probably shouldn't give a shit. But you know, if it's there in the fridge, I'm going to eat it. Yeah. And then like my meal prep expired a couple months ago and I've just been being lazy, but I'm about to get back on it. We just ordered some the other day.
Yeah.
I can send you guys some stuff too if you want.
Yeah, I'll probably need some recommendations. I feel like there's no good meal prep companies in LA.
Oh,
or I get sick of all of them. I think I just become sick of all the.
Yeah, I'm a partner in Trifecta. So we can just send it to you for free probably.
Oh, I would like to check it out. Yeah.
But it's almost like based on what you just said, sending it to you for free wouldn't be a good idea because then you'd be like, it's free.
Nah,
you wouldn't need it, you know?
I just like in my head, I'm a cheapskate where I like can't waste shit.
Yeah.
Like if I have it, I just have to. Like
It's
if
also fucked up. Just throwing away food. Like
no, if I have some
bad.
shitty weed, it's like I have to smoke the shitty weed before I can get to the good weed.
Oh my God.
Like, I have to finish it.
Yeah, you're
funny.
like you have like one nug left. You're like I gotta like it's been sitting there for a year.
Yeah.
Gotta like take it out.
Or I'll
and just
mix
do
it with
anyways.
the good weed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at least then, you know, and when I think about it, sometimes in my head, I'm like, well, that's like, you know, like 40 cents worth of weed right there. Like, what? You probably shouldn't care about that. Well, I do. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's where you come from. I have a question about you and working out because you bounced back and seemed quick. Like from having the kid and like
Yes.
It didn't feel like it, but
She's
thank
in
you.
denial,
It
but
didn't
yes.
feel like it. I mean, in the beginning, it was like no, I could eat cake and I could eat super strict keto. I would stay the same fucking weight, and I think it's like people say that when you breastfeed, the weight just falls off, but I don't think that's actually true because there's a lot of people who hold on to weight because your body's kind of thinking like, what if you starve? What if you have no food? Like we need the fat stores to create milk for the baby. So in the beginning, the first like 6 months. No matter how much effort I put, I weighed the same. And I think it took like a good year for me to finally like really go back into my shape.
you look great. Did you struggle like knowing that like, okay, I got to get back to be able to do this and like,
totally. Oh my God. Yeah. And I still sometimes I'm like, oh, because my body doesn't look exactly the same as it used to look, obviously, but like only I can see those little things, you know, my skin's a little looser in my stomach and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely a struggle because that's like another identity thing where it's like my body is my career and right now I don't have my body, so you know. And
not even that, but she couldn't really control her body, you know, because like she has the baby and then she's breastfeeding and she's like, I saw it where she would have a week where she'd be doing cardio fucking 7 times a week and eating super healthy and like lifting weights or whatever and then not losing any weight, and then the next week she'd be like eating cake and eating whatever the fuck she felt like, and she's still, her weight wouldn't change. Like, it was weird. Like,
it's a hormone.
And you're not sleeping either. So like the
Yeah.
first 7 months, I never slept for more than a 2-hour stretch. I was up every
Fuck,
fucking
that's
2.
so
And
stressful.
that will do so much to your mental health.
Holy
and then
shit.
trying to work out when you're in that sort of shape, you know, and then I'd go to work out and I'd be like watching the monitor like a hawk. And then right away she would wake up. So it's like it's really, really hard to work out and eat well consistently when you're fucking tired, you're not sleeping, you know.
Now you got me afraid of having a kid.
You're not going to be the one waking up in the middle of the night with the bottle.
I fucking hope not.
Depending on who you got, but he never did that. It was me. But I mean, I was breastfeeding, so it was kind of like I had to. But
I hear from a lot of dads who seem like they were waking up in the middle of the night a lot more than I did. Because
oh, absolutely, yeah. And
Damn, you had it good.
he has it so
You got
good.
a great
I just
woman.
don't wake up. Like, I don't know. Like, she'll tell me in the morning, 8 in the morning. She'll be like, I woke up this many times and the kid was doing this, and I'll be like, really? I was just sleeping. I didn't know anything.
It's a
But
good
she's
woman.
really nice. She don't want to wake me up. You know?
Damn, you're fucking.
But you know what? I would look
You're
at him
awesome.
in the middle of the night like, I fucking hate you. You fucking asshole. Why did you get me
But
pregnant?
I didn't know. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, no, you're really sweet for that.
I
Wow.
wanted to smother him with his pillow. I would just be
Wow.
so angry.
This is so funny though.
I'd just
Like,
be
you're
so envious that he just got to sleep.
But it's not like I could really do anything because all she's doing when she's staying up is breastfeeding. Like,
And even like this morning, he went and got Parker out of her bed when she was crying. As soon as she sees him, it's like, Mama, where's Mama?
She's
Mama.
like-
So it's like
yeah.
he can't even really fucking help me because
she's
she wants
skeptical
me.
when she sees me, but she's still happy that somebody's taking out of her crib. But then, like, once we get into the room and she's looking at your side of the bed and you're not there, she starts freaking the fuck out.
God forbid I had to go pee.
She hears you peeing in the other room. She starts freaking the fuck out. But either way, like,
Oh, she loves you.
I honestly have no idea how I could possibly, like, if she wasn't there, I don't know. Like, I would probably have to take her to the hospital. She was gonna cry so
No,
hard.
put
Like,
on
she was.
some Elmo,
She
you're
would have
okay.
been so upset if
Holy
you weren't there.
shit.
I don't know what I would have done.
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, I go to the bathroom and she just follows me
Flips
everywhere.
out.
She gets so mad.
She's so attached to her mom.
So,
Ugh.
yeah,
you
having
love it
kids-
though.
I mean, I love it. Of course, I love being the thing that she needs, you know. And like, I'm worried about her right now. I'm like, what's going on? Is she?
What is she doing right now? Is there people watching
She's
her?
hopefully taking a nap.
Her assistant
It's
watching
nap
her
time.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, I had to get my assistant to come over for like 20 minutes. We needed someone to get over here. But, you know, she has her days where she's like, I need Mama constantly. And then she has her days where she doesn't want anything to do with me. And so even though I get annoyed on the days where she like won't leave me alone, I know that at some point she's gonna be like, bye, I'm going into preschool. I don't care about you. I'm happy to be here and play on the playground. And so I just really have to cherish even the sometimes annoying moments.
I love this. I love how in my mind this podcast turned from like everything we were talking to me talking about wanting a kid. And just,
I
like,
think
I'm
you should
asking you all
totally do
these
OnlyFans.
questions.
I think you should totally have a baby. I am on board with all of this.
Oh my god, this is like I'm just asking my own selfish questions right now because I'm like I want to find out more about the kid.
I love when I do that on my podcast where I'll have somebody on and like they'll be like a successful businessman doing like something and I only ask them about business the whole time and don't even give a shit about their art or whatever. And the audience is like, you literally just did this interview because you wanted to like find out how his business worked.
It's a
And I'm like,
consulting session for
Oh
you.
my god!
but I don't even know that I'm doing it because I'm just interested.
Well, that's how I tend to do any of the podcasts. Is like these are the questions I would ask. Period. Right. We kind of have stuff on the board, but I don't even some of this stuff I didn't go over. I guess it's like we should be asking you about. Yeah, like so. We'll put stuff on the board. She'll get mad at me sometimes because like I don't even look at it, but it's because I'm genuinely just asking questions that I want to know about you guys.
From my perspective, it's good to have that shit as a backup, but then I usually won't really dig into it unless I have to.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Which is what is this young boy beef? What the fuck? Oh, actually, I do
Young
want
Boy
to.
released a song.
I was looking at that note, like Bradley knows what O Block is. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to ask you about the. Did you see the Yeezy thing?
We did.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I found so interesting about that guy is like he's always been kind of like a weird kind of dude,
Oh yeah.
and his relationship with his mom was like the craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like
Her passing was so sad watching that.
Ooh, brutal.
yeah, and he was always just like a quirky, weird fucking dude. But obviously you see his success. But I guess the question I want to pose to you about this whole thing is like you see all the stuff that's going on now with like the Kardashians and all the stuff. Like, how real do you think all that stuff really is? Because I know that they know that like the Kardashians became a thing because of drama, because of issue, because of problems.
Feels pretty real to me, mostly because they're just ignoring Kanye. You know, like they're not like leaning into it, because it would be so easy for Kris Jenner or whoever, Kim, to like go on Twitter and just say like, my ex-husband is tormenting me and my family.
Well, they're doing some of that,
They're
though.
just not really like doing what I would expect them to do if they were really trying to play the game. I feel like they actually are being tormented and harassed by a crazy person named Kanye West. And I honestly feel really bad for him. I get called like a simp by my audience and shit because they feel like I'm supposed to just side with Kanye. But I mean, to me, it's pretty transparent that he's behaving like a fucking child, and that of course he's gonna be embarrassed with all this bullshit down the road. I mean, like, to me, what's really embarrassing about it is that, like, you watch that documentary, you see his mother, you realize what an incredible person she was, and then you see him putting out an album named after her while acting like a fucking bozo and blatantly, like, just, like, not respecting Kim's personhood, you know? Like, he's dating all these new women, and then meanwhile, her having a boyfriend, which she's a million times less public than him, with her new boyfriend.
Right.
And like, you know, apparently Kanye's allowed to date, but she's
Well, it's
not.
almost more
like,
public about her new boyfriend because of him.
He's making it a thing. Everyone knows they're dating because of him.
It's a disgrace to his mother's legacy, the way he's been acting.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's
And I just feel for his kids. I mean, you know, like his oldest daughter is old enough to be aware of a lot of these things.
Like what's
maybe,
happening.
yeah, maybe she's not on social media like that, but you know, it's like he has to answer to her, and that's like.
And if you want to look at it from a purely pragmatic standpoint, like purely strategic, you know, if me and her break up and I want to have a relationship with my kid, there's a certain way that I just have to act if I want her to continue to allow me to have that relationship with my kid, you know? And like the way he's been acting is like, if you're a judge and she comes in and and Kim wants a restraining order, or she doesn't want the kids to see the dad or whatever. I mean, if I'm Kim, I'm having my lawyer say, he put out a video with millions of views in which he threatens to kick my new boyfriend's ass, and then he put out a video where he buries him head, you know, like all that shit just looks terrible. Like you're gonna ruin your chance of having a relationship with your kids because you can't help but act like an asshole publicly.
I mean, I just feel like he kind of has always had this mentality that like rules don't really apply to him. You kind of see like a little bit of it in the beginning of the documentary. It was still like a little bit humble, but he's kind of always had the seed there, and it's like now he's just full blown. He can do whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, it's like a part. It's almost like a part of his genius is like to just to kind of do it and then say sorry later. It seems like.
But does he? Does he say sorry?
I don't know. I mean, in a sense, he kind of does.
He just put out a big ass statement about how like basically him burying Pete Davidson in the video is not bad, not a big deal.
It's
like,
just art.
Totally fine. Yeah, like you guys are all wrong. I'm fine.
No, it's crazy though. Do you think he knows that he's doing it? And because like at the same time, like when I see it, I'm like, okay, he's got an album coming and he's doing this now. Like, is he doing the whole Kardashian thing himself? Yeah.
I think he's really just living his truth. That he's like he's a child and he just can't accept that, you know, your girl broke up with you and now she's dating somebody new. Like as an adult, like as a guy, we've all been through that. I've been through that where I had a girl break my fucking heart and tell me she didn't want to be with me. And guess what I did? I was depressed for a week or two, and then I got over it, and I swallowed my fucking pride, and I went to the bar, and I got drunk, and I got some new pussy, and I got over it.
Yeah.
But Kanye's just out here like crying and pleading
while
for
having
us to
new
understand.
girlfriends.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the girlfriend. Like, it looks like Kim.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone on Instagram looks like Kim.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing.
It is weird. Yeah, they do look.
Because there's
very
one
similar.
picture that I saw. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Especially when someone wears glasses and then he's got big lips. You're like, okay, like is that Kim Kardashian?
It's an interesting thing. I just seen it. I just think it's interesting.
I have a question too now to add to that. Do you think, obviously, I mean, with this, him like whining about it, do you think he's like an unfit parent? Because in regular life, like a parent that does things like this would be an unstable parent where they would not have custody of their child.
Yeah. If he
So,
didn't
what
have
are your
millions
thoughts?
of followers, this would still be viewed as abusive. Yeah. It's actually just because he's such like a charming entertainer that people don't fully call it what it is.
Well, because he has fans, so they're going to defend him too.
Always,
so that's why
yeah.
they're going to call you a simp.
But the judge isn't going to be a fan.
I do feel like the way he's acting makes him an unfit parent because you don't know if he's going to be going around the kids and saying those types of things to them, like don't talk to Pete or whatever it is,
Or
you know,
Skeet,
just
you
like
know?
Skeet, just
Yeah,
getting
so-
involved. So yeah, it
It's
doesn't look good.
I don't want to call him an unfit parent, but it does seem pretty blatant. You know, I'm not like there to see his parenting, but everything he's doing around the parenting publicly, like even just taking it to social media at all.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's the thing.
That's one thing me and
But that's
him
what.
said
But that's
early
why
on.
I'm like, is it because he's doing the albums release stuff? He's dropping the mean, he's got.
I don't think he's doing it for promo. I think he's doing it for ego. But like me and her had that conversation very early on, which is like, no matter where this relationship goes, I'm just not going to use you for content. I'm not going to use our relationship as like a thing.
Like if it didn't
trot
work
out publicly.
We've had so many fights over the years. You've never once seen us like make a video about it, talk about it publicly on the vlog. It's always been handled like behind closed doors. And, you know, there's been times where he said controversial things on the podcast and girls will DM me like, what do you think about this? Why aren't you talking about it? Why don't you call Adam out? Yada, yada. And it's like, I'm really dating him in real life. Like if there's a conversation I have to have with him, I talk to him in real life. And there have been conversations that we've had where I was like, kind of like me, I didn't really like what you said on the podcast. Like it really reflects bad on me. But we never have had those conversations.
Yeah. I've always tried to keep my relationships off the like straight up. They always have been, because I've always been afraid of like, not obviously, you know, the level of this, it wouldn't be happening, but just in general, you know, everyone always feels like, I don't know, when you're a creator, you're on the internet, they want your opinion on something, like even like talking about certain political stuff. They'll be like, talk about this. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to talk about it.
Like,
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And I think about that, like how, for me, like I always just lived my life out in public. There was always almost nothing that was happening in my life that I didn't talk about online, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes when I think about what it would be like to be single, I'm just like, oh my God, if I was single, I would date people and I wouldn't tell anyone. Like it would be like a thing that didn't exist on the internet, you know? Like I could just have like a relationship and not tell anyone, and that just like is so foreign to me because I've never really like been like that. Like I've always pretty much just like aired my shit out. So you know, with me and her, at least we like keep anything that's messy off the internet.
Yeah, it's good. It's good you can come to that conclusion.
I feel like it is hard to have a public relationship and have it work well, but for some reason for us it has worked because it could have gone bad. It could have been nasty.
I think it's the
at
threesomes.
times, but the threesomes.
I think that's why it's working.
That's the solution.
It's definitely like therapy.
It's also the openness, you guys. It's like it's everything's there.
But it's like people. I don't want people to go out there and think like, oh, if me and my girl have threesomes, our relationship will be good. Because the truth is like you have to have a solid relationship in order to have threesomes and have them work out well. If your relationship is in a bad place and you try to go have a threesome, your relationship is not going to get better.
Yeah,
you know?
or like I had a thing that happened in Vegas the other day where I was coming out of the hotel and this girl stops me and she's fucking some porn star looking girl with these huge fake boobs and she's all like hugging me and being like, I know this person, you know, and rah rah rah, I want to take a photo with me. And then I realized that all my friends are watching me and that before I came out there, they had all been staring at her and talking about how hot she was or whatever. And then they see me and I take the selfie with her real quick and then I just walk away and that's it. And they're all like, you know, I realized like as I look over them, like, oh, they think it's so cool that this girl like wanted to, you know, like, and I'm just thinking in my head, like, my life has changed a lot that like I didn't even think about fucking with that girl at all because like, you know, why, like, I mean, I get plenty of fucking pussy on camera. It just doesn't really feel like this crazy thing worth risking it all for. But like you see that with like even these rich CEO dudes, the richest dudes in the world, like fucking billionaires are like, they still can't keep their dick in their pants. Like it's kind of amazing.
It's funny because he sent me that picture that the girl took with him. He's like, this girl posted a photo of me on their story and it looks like I'm cheating on you. And he showed it to me. I was like,
because one of my friends said that right away. They're like, look at her story. Like the way that she posted that photo probably looks like you're like kicking it with her like that. And so then I told Lena and Lena.
Well, she's like hanging out with Adam in Vegas.
Yeah, but then she kind of like laughed at me.
I was like, it doesn't look like you're cheating. Like,
and then I kind of felt like
I've seen girls asking for photos a million times over the years, you know, and you know. Cute girls, like I'm not. I know what it is. It's not like, and that's the thing is like I feel like it's worked because I understand that kind of stuff is like he has an audience. It's mostly male, but obviously he has fans. And
what's like the thing you guys argue the most about? Do you think you have the biggest issue, or have you had like a big fight where you were like?
I can't remember the last time we fought, but probably for me, it's just like our relationship now, especially with the kid, is like we're in work mode and we're in parent mode, and I feel like our romantic relationship probably gets cast aside a lot. And like I feel like it's the kind of thing where you almost have to like really work it into your schedule, because if you don't, it's just not going to happen. By the time that your energy is spent during the day, like you're not going to be thinking about like how can I romance each other again, especially when you've been together almost 6 years. Are you like a quality time type, like love language person, like where you want quality? Yes, for me, that's like fucking tough. It's not like about gifts. It's more like the kind of time that we're spending together for sure.
go somewhere sweet and like
doing something like totally without our phones, maybe a hike, maybe honestly even playing fucking Scrabble or like something stupid like that. Like honestly, one thing that we do together recently that is kind of romantic to me is that we both play this New York Times game called Spelling Bee separately, and then we compete over it. Like at night, we like compare scores, and like that is our love language.
that's dope.
And she fucks me up, and I feel
Every
like
day.
that's what keeps us going is the fact that I would never have thought that she would be better at this
You
than me.
know way more words than me,
Just
but I
because
keep beating you.
I used to be like really into playing Scrabble, and like I'm just like interested in like words, and in my head I've always been like unscrambling words. Like when I look at a word, I kind of like start thinking about what I could rearrange those letters to spell, which is just this weird thing that exists in my brain. And then she's just fucking me up every day, and I'm like, I thought I was just gonna be so good at this. And
I thought you were too, because you always beat me at Scrabble, but I'm
but
beating you at
Scrabble
this.
is like strategy. Like if you understood the strategy type shit in Scrabble as good as me, then apparently you'd really be fucking me up. Yeah.
It's so crazy. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know what time is it? Oh no, we got to do 2 more audience questions.
Okay.
We haven't done any audience questions, by the way.
Oh, one of them was your question, so we
Yeah.
need to do 3 audience questions.
Okay.
So at the end of every podcast, we just. By the way, if you guys want to ask your questions, ask rawtalk@gmail.com. You guys get your question answered by me and the guests, or it's just me, whoever's here. But yeah, they just give us some questions. Do you have them lined up over there?
Yeah. I have
Okay, cool.
So this one says,
She's on it. I
as a
fucking love it.
34-year-old woman, what is your advice for someone in around my age that is looking for a real relationship in the world where hookup culture is now prominent? I've tried dating apps, no luck. I don't drink or go to bars or anything like that, so it hasn't been easy. What is your advice?
This is a way. Hold on, I have a question. This is a 34-year-old woman who watches my podcast. That has to be the smallest demographic of watchers or viewers of this podcast. Is 34-year-old
My
women.
first instinct is to say to like join some sort of a group or club of some sort where you will meet like-minded people. Obviously, maybe don't join like a knitting group because you're probably not going to find that many men in that group if that's what if you're interested in men. So, but yeah, I mean, I just feel like the gym is a good place to meet people.
Yeah, I think it's a great
what
place.
she's into.
If that's what she's into, like whatever you're interested in, because you want to meet someone who shares something in common with you.
Yes.
And if you don't drink, then the bar is not the place
This
for
is
you.
exactly how I'd answer it.
So
You got to find something that you like to do, and then hopefully it's a thing that men will like to do as well. You got to find some sort of common ground there. Again, like she said, if you're into men, right? So you need to spend time and like be in those situations. Obviously, you find someone who's like-minded, then you can build a closer bond with them.
What are the kind of mates that you want to seek out, and then where do they tend to congregate? Like I remember there's been a couple times in my life where I've gone to like a yoga class and I realized like,
oh yeah,
if I went to yoga classes, I'm gonna meet a lot of like girls who are at least somewhat chill, cool, healthy, like perhaps like
alternative
honestly,
shit,
flexible.
If I was just looking for but like in reality, what did I like actually
you wanted
spend?
yoga
She got some
pants
nice-
and
I was
flexible.
going to bars and strip clubs and fucking meeting porn stars on Twitter. But but if I was really if I was single today, and I was really trying to think of like how do I meet somebody that's gonna like I would just be thinking like there's been times in my life where I went to like a band's show, and like not like a punk hardcore metal thing, but like a cool like indie rock punk whatever type
like vibes,
and realize like there's a lot of like cool seeming girls who are like at this show. Like if I really wanted to, like I would stop going to fucking trap rap shows and I would be going to this fucking Belle and Sebastian show because these girls seem like pretty cool. But I mean, if that's what I would suggest to her. I'm assuming she's like kind of interested in exercising because of you. I would just like put myself in those environments more. But also like, hey, I feel for you because
Also, I would just hate to meet a guy at the gym, but I do.
Why?
suggest-
Why?
I never
Because
talked to a
men
girl
who
in the
talk
gym.
to girls at the gym are just perving on them.
I was
No, don't
I
say
used
that.
to go to a powerlifting gym.
No!
I used to go to a powerlifting gym, and it was always like the guy would try to get on the Stairmaster next to me and be like, "Oh wow, you're like really good at the Stairmaster," and I'm just like, "Go away, I hate you."
I never had it in me to holler at a girl at the gym because I always felt like the girls had their defenses up so much.
Because
Like,
guys would just come around trying to show you how to use a fucking machine that you already know how to use.
Okay, well that's not the way to do it.
but I'm in the gym.
Well, you
I'm
gotta train them
sweating.
how to do
I'm
it then.
sweating like a fucking pig. I look the worst in the gym that I'm gonna look at anytime all week. That doesn't make me want to hit on a girl, And I'm not gonna go get fresh, put some Gucci's on to fucking go to the gym.
pull up to the gym, yeah. But I guess it's like, to the guys being like, "Fuck, what if I gotta hit up girls in the gym?" It's all about the approach. Like if you see the girl, this is the rule of thumb that we've figured out over the years that if you see the girl consistently, let's say over the next few weeks, you know, she works out at this time.
That's true.
You get enough interaction, like get enough eye contact. If every time you look at her, she's like avoiding you, maybe that's not the one to go after. But if 2 weeks go by and every time you see her, she's like opening that eye contact, then maybe approach at some point in between.
Read it, yeah.
On
I
the
mean,
way
my
out
trainer
or-
is marrying a guy. She's engaged. She's getting married to a guy that she met at the gym. So I mean, you can find love there. But for me, I haven't had good experiences.
Think about how much, like when he's in the gym, he's a natural. He's like the fucking biggest dude in the gym half the time. He's like, you know, that he feels like in his element there. For me, when I'm in the gym, it's like, no, I'm working at getting to a place that I'm clearly not that close to, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I were to meet a girl at a rap show, it's like, this is my element. I'm probably going to be like the most comfortable in that element.
And so that's what we're saying to the question here innately is like, get in a place like where you can kind of be in your element and find other people. Like if you have that in the same area. Cause
also,
like,
she might need to lower her standards.
I mean, I have no idea.
I would kind of assume, realistically, you should probably just date some fucking loser.
You think so?
That's terrible advice.
Yeah.
But I have to pee, so let's do the next question.
Yeah, go. Good next
Okay,
question.
so the next question says, do people in your guys' industry genuinely enjoy their job, or do they do it for different reasons? For example, money, or they're just good at it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I feel like we are introduced to a specific type of girl in the industry because we know, you know, all the girls who are top 50 on Pornhub. So all those girls had to be enjoying it to a certain degree to get to where they are. Because when you're enjoying your job, you're really good at your job and it just feeds each other, you know? So it's like, I feel kind of biased in answering that question, but I do believe when you ask most girls why they got in, a lot of times it was just because they were horny and they thought it was a fun idea, and because the money obviously looked a lot better than a lot of things looked to them at the time, because, you know, what is minimum wage? Like $15 an hour?
Yeah, but
almost 17 now.
Yeah, I mean, most of the girls I find that do well in porn, it's very rarely like the girl who's just hot, but then not sexual at all.
Yeah.
Because usually they suck on camera. Like the vast majority of the girls that we shoot Plug Talk with are like very sexual. They're good at sex. They enjoy sex.
They love the
like,
attention. They love being on
yeah,
set.
it's just they're naturals, because you probably wouldn't really be into it if you weren't a natural, because the reality is like if you're just a hot chick and you just want to post like, you know, pictures with your shirt off, you could probably make a lot of fucking money even just doing that, you know? But like, I mean, if you want to do real porn, you don't have to do that, and it's not for everybody, and you're probably not going to last unless you're pretty comfortable doing that. So I feel like the girls that we deal with, like, that's why I'm always a little surprised when I hear girls who have their like horror stories from the porn world, because the girls that we deal with almost never have those kind of stories.
Yeah. I think in general too, speaking like not so much porn directed industry, but just in general, anyone who's like successful at making content, I think to get to a certain level, if you guys are watching their content, enough people, they're getting enough views, they have enough follow, whatever you're gauging this like level of success by, to get to that point, like they have to genuinely enjoy it. Like if not even like porn aside, just like making content in general, whatever you're making the content towards, like there does have to be some genuine enjoyment there. Obviously, you know that you have to pay bills. There's things you got to take care of on the back end. You got to make sure it's good. And that's always a part of it, and can be a struggle more so for, I think, the people in the beginning phases of it, trying to find the balance. But I think if you're looking at someone, oh, do they really enjoy this? Like I would gauge it off of like, what level do you think they're at? And then if they're at like the highest level of it, then it's likely that there's probably a big part of them that enjoys it. Yeah. Otherwise, like you wouldn't get to that point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if, let's say, if we're talking porn, for example, you probably have a few scenes and be like, I don't like, fuck this. I'm just not going to do this because I don't feel good in it.
Right. And porn is the kind of thing where like you could at least imagine somebody getting into it, even if they didn't like doing it, because it's enough money. Whereas like with podcasting, it's like nobody's really like accusing me of like, oh, you don't really like podcasting, you're just doing it for money. Because it's like, it's clearly like too difficult and not enough money to attract people who don't want to do it.
Yeah.
People have that in their head about porn, and they have a point, because, you know, you could be some girl who like really doesn't want to do this, doesn't feel natural doing it, and you just kind of have to do it because you're making enough money that it's just, you'd be stupid not to do it. But that's a pretty small percentage of people, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah. Dude, I love podcasts. This is my fucking shit. This is so fun to me, man.
Is this the same podcast that we did last time?
This is
a different.
This is I rebranded it. So
Okay.
before it was called Culture Cast, and you guys.
Okay, got it. That's what I was thinking.
Now it's called RAWTALK. So yeah.
Plug Talk, Raw Talk. We go raw on Plug Talk too.
It's lit. It's so dope.
All right, so this one is, what is the best way to start building up confidence when it comes to posting and being more active on social media? Whether it's in the fitness world, porn industry, or just like putting yourself out there, I guess you could say.
My advice
Go
is
for it.
work on shit and don't put it out. Like you should honestly, like, if you feel like you suck on camera, like you should make 50 videos for yourself before you ever make one that you put out. Like you should just be doing it because it's fun and because it's a hobby before you're even starting to be concerned with like people buying into what you're selling. Like I feel like if you're going to be a YouTuber whose content actually goes somewhere, or an influencer in general or whatever, like you got to start, you have to be willing to do it with no reward.
Absolutely.
So, because realistically it's going to take you a long time to get to the point where you're actually reaping the rewards, never mind the point that some of us are at where we're making a lot of potential income from it or whatever. Like that's what I would recommend to people. Like set the fucking camera up in your house, talking to the camera, and then like look at it afterwards and try to judge yourself against other people who are in your world and say like, shit, like, am I close to the level that the people that I like watching are? Because I know, like, the other day I saw a video from a guy who has like 20,000 subscribers and I thought he was really good on camera, and he lives in North Dakota, and I said, yo, like, I want to fly you out. Like, here's my guy. Like, I'm going to fly you out, like, just to fuck with you, like, to have you come out and work on some content and stuff, because I actually think he's dope. And like, I mean, that's just because he's put himself out there enough that he got my attention, and I think he's good on camera. Like you just have to be real with yourself, and realistically, like, you're not going to be Tana Monju or whatever the fuck necessarily.
Yeah. Tana Mongeau.
She told me she got 1 million views her first YouTube video.
That's insane.
Some people are just natural. Some people like the people are just going to love you, and it's just going to work.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be like this.
I filmed my first YouTube video like 4 times, and I will never watch it again because I know it sucks. And it's like, I had to suck a lot until I got a lot better at talking on camera. I still get nervous to go on a podcast, but I know I'm a lot better than when I first started going on his podcast and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like in the beginning you have to be okay with sucking and not letting all the feedback get to you, because if you let that feedback get to you, then you're just always going to be working for the feedback, and that's not where you want to be.
But the lucky part is if you're just a random person, then you're probably not going to get any feedback for a while. So that's why I say just don't even put it out, because if you make a video and then you feel like you can make another video and make that video better, make another video. Like there's nothing saying you got to put the shit out. Yeah.
There's a few things here. I think there's 2 major things. I think the first thing is kind of along the lines you're talking about, is people see the success that some of us have, obviously that a lot of like top creators will have, and they'll go, fuck, I don't have this, I don't have that. Those people, number one, didn't get there overnight. You do have to start somewhere. And I think the bigger thing beyond that, in like judging yourself based off of someone else, is like kind of going back to what you're talking about, just doing it to do it and see if you can get better. But at the same time, it's like, do you actually give a fuck about what you're doing? Or are you doing it just because you want some sort of outcome and you want the popularity and you want the money? If you could find like a true purpose in why you're doing it, and draw real lines to like that purpose, then it doesn't really fucking matter. So the 2 things are actually giving a fuck about what you're doing it and why you're doing it, and then not giving a fuck about what anyone says or thinks about it. Because at any point, even if what you're saying, if I go, okay, I filmed 6 videos, and my 6th video, this is the one that I'm actually like, and I progress it to this point, you're still going to post it on the internet, and someone's going to go, fuck you, you suck. And so understanding that like this is just the reality of the internet and of the world, and how people are just going to just talk shit because you're doing something maybe out of the ordinary that person who's talking shit really wishes they could do and they're not doing. Fuck that person and just do it because you want to do it. But that's the key. Do you really want to do it? Yeah. And why do you really want to do it? Those are the most important aspects of this, in my opinion. And I just think if you can draw those lines really fine for yourself, then it doesn't matter how many views or how much like shit talk you get, whatever. You just decide, okay, this really matters to me, and I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. And that's what it's really all about.
And if you fail, you were meant to fail, because this is all on you. And if you can't manage to get a couple thousand people to watch your videos, it's on you. Like there's nobody you can blame besides yourself, which is the scary part about it. Yeah. Because if you fucking don't build an audience, you failed, and you can't blame it on anyone else. And that's like a really uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, I think.
For sure. Yeah. But I think also too, it's perseverance. Like if you failed like that, I think if you really knew your reason why you're doing it, it wasn't just to get views, to be popular, to make money, then like, even if you failed the first time, I think someone could just keep going and keep going and keep going, and eventually get what they think they wanted. It's just not in the time that they think they need it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of, like, we talk about Tana or whoever, and it's like some people just hit, and that's just what it is. Like some kid gets on TikTok, some pretty boy, and he gets millions of followers. Comes to my mind right away. I think like Vinny Hacker, this guy blew up, and then so I think of shit like that. No disrespect to this guy, But it's just not everyone's going to be that guy or that girl. But it's like, if you really care about what you have to say or what you're doing, then just keep trying. And then maybe it'll eventually hit. But also, there comes to a point where it's like, maybe it just doesn't fucking work out because maybe your reason's not great enough.
And if your reason for doing it is to make money and get famous, then your reason isn't that good. And so when you fail, nobody's going to give a fuck, because realistically, like, I look up to people who make content and just keep going. And it's like, it doesn't have to, like, you know, like, if nobody watched my podcast, I probably would have kept doing it. Like,
yeah,
probably, like, if I right now was getting to 100,000 subscribers, you know, I probably would have kept going, because what the fuck else was I going to do? You know, I probably would have kept adapting it and working with it in my brain to figure out something that would be successful. I grinded the BMX shit for 10 years before No Jumper.
Yeah.
And then even with No Jumper, it took years and years before I, like, could say I was a millionaire off of it, you know? It's like, my dream was to make 10 grand off YouTube in a month. For years. In 2012, I started to, like, really go hard on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I didn't get there till, like, 2016, you know? So it was like 4 years of work to get to that milestone. And then I felt like I was just getting started.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what people don't see, right? Because most people will see this and they'll see this with the success you have now, and they don't realize that you get fucked along with the way, like, and not the good way if we're talking about it, but it's like you have to keep going. Like, this actually matters to me. Like, if you got to that point with all the stuff that you've done, like, clearly it fucking mattered to you, and that's the only reason why you're actually here now. So I just think if you're listening to this podcast, like, you have to really have a reason why the fuck you're doing it. And if it's just to make money, that's fine, whatever. But, like, if that's the only reason why you're doing it, I think you have to be very selective with the type of content you're making. Yeah. Otherwise, like, it won't resonate right with people.
If your goal is just to make money, then nobody's going to give a fuck when you fail, because you weren't
100%.
doing it for an honorable purpose in the first place. You know, your goal shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to do this video that's going to get this amount of views to make money. Your goal should be, I'm going to make this video because I think this video doesn't exist right now, and I think that the world could use this video, and I think there would be an audience for this video.
Yeah, like, it'd be funny or motivate them or make them feel good.
There's a potential audience out here who could enjoy this. That matters.
Exactly.
That's a good reason to do something, you know, to entertain people. The money is like, the money comes along with, like, YouTube it's a slow trickle of money at first. So it's like, you know, if you can entertain people and actually have a good reason to do something, the money will follow. You know?
Yeah, it's a fact.
Okay, so this last question is, if you could work any other job, what job would it be?
Oh, fuck.
I would probably want to
Mike.
be.
Look at her. Look at her.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
He has headphones on.
He's good.
I know I have to wear the headphones to feel like I'm in the zone, but I honestly would want to own just like a small little coffee shop on the coast somewhere.
Yeah, you should do that then. I feel like you should.
Maybe one day I will. Maybe I'll retire and I'll move to the beach and open a little coffee shop. But it's not as easy as it sounds.
I think anybody who lives their life sort of whoring themselves out for money on the internet or whatever all the time, whether, like, literally or not literally, you know, like, just putting your personality on camera, like I find myself drawn back to, like, playing online poker and shit, just because that's how I was kind of making money when I was, like, 22, 23. And it's such a simple way of life in a way. Like, it's just, you sit in front of the computer, you play the game. Ideally,
But it can
you make
ruin
money
your
off it.
life though too.
It can, but I mean, like, I'm pretty good at poker, and I feel like I could probably be like a guy who makes 6 figures a year playing poker. But
You play poker now?
yeah, but
Damn.
I get paid 6 figures a year just to fucking play poker right now without even having to fucking
That's
win
fucking
anything.
dope.
But now, you know, that just, like, it occurs to me because it's like, I could do that. I wouldn't have to talk to anybody. I could stay in my fucking house. I feel like
I want the opposite of that.
I feel like if I'm
our
like
jobs
60, that might be my life. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, if I, like, really decide to just sort of give up on my life, I'll probably just be posted up in the
It's
crib.
funny.
You know?
Just be a full-blown fucking gambling addict. Yeah. I think I would. I mean, I'm doing it. Like, I would own a gym. Like, I just.
Okay, well, what if you weren't?
I can't,
Obviously, something you're not already doing, Brad.
He would have 4 kids.
I literally have no idea if it didn't revolve around something to do with the gym. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it.
Because if you had, like, a sandwich shop, why wouldn't you also have a squat rack in the corner?
Yeah, it's like, why the fuck?
You might as
yeah.
well combine these
It's like,
things,
dude,
right?
what? I just know straight up, like, I've never ever thought about doing anything other than something involving the gym. Like, obviously, this is not the gym, but I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough depth. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
But that says a lot about you doing the right thing, because for me, no matter what else I was doing, I don't think I'd be able to stop doing podcasts. I think even if I really tried not to do podcasts, it would be like a couple weeks and I'd be like,
there's one I just have to do. Like there's just people I want to talk to. There's just conversations I want to have, and I might as well have them so that the world can see it. You know?
Yeah, this is becoming the thing for me, like that the gym was when I, much younger. This thing is so, I don't know, it's just different for me now. I love it. I enjoy it so much. Like I feel like every time I have a podcast, I learn more. I become better. Like whatever I'm able to get for the audience, I'm grateful to be able to get that. But at the same time, just even personally, I just feel like
You feel fulfilled.
Yeah. It's fucking amazing. And thank you guys for being here and doing this.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you. This was great.
Fucking, you guys showed up exactly fucking on time, like 2 minutes before even. It was amazing.
We were planning. We gave ourselves an hour to get here for some reason.
And I'll be honest, because normally like people will text like, oh, where's it? What's the address again? Or like, oh, I'm this far away. And I remember in my mind, I was like, let me see. I'm not going to hit them up and see if they show up.
No.
They were literally here 2 minutes before.
When you're parents, you have to plan everything perfectly. And so like the earliest I could get someone over was 9:30. So I literally had to get a sitter from 9 to 9:30 because we were trying to leave right on time to get here. So we don't play.
My calendar is so fucking precision at this point. The other day I had like a call to like record something set up with somebody. And he was like 20 minutes late, and then he hit me, and I'm like, I left. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, bro, my schedule, like, I don't get to like hang out. Like, I got thing after thing after thing, you know.
Yeah. So thank you for coming. I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. So obviously, everyone here, check them out. Obviously, No Jumper, the Plug Talk podcast. You guys have.
Onlyplugtalk.com
Yeah,
is the best place if you want to go to see the OnlyFans version. But if you want to just get a taste, you can search it up on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, all that shit.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about or end it with? Promo or whatever.
Follow our kid on Instagram too.
Yeah. Hell yeah. It's amazing.
You can do that.
You gonna sell like fucking like little bibs and shit or something maybe?
Maybe you don't follow because your baby fever is gonna get crazy.
Dude, I'm gonna have a kid. I swear to God.
And the best part about doing porn is that then you don't have to like make fucking shitty vlogs with your kid for money.
Yo, this is
We've done a little bit of that, and it feels like I'm sacrificing way more of myself doing that than I am doing
hilarious.
Porn. Yeah,
that is such a funny.
We have a family channel, but we just like don't even upload to it.
It's like, I have too much fun being a dad that I'm like, am I really gonna like set the fucking camera up to try to get footage of me hanging out with her?
Fuck, man, that's really put me in a position right now because I know that when I have a kid, it's probably gonna be on the internet.
I mean, you do want to film some stuff because you do want to have those memories with your kid. Adam wishes he had more videos with his parents as a kid. Like they didn't have a video camera and stuff. So you obviously want to film a bunch of that stuff. But when you have to do it and it's like your job, then it doesn't feel good. Because kids are also, they're not the best people to work with on camera. Trying to get a photo of a kid, they're moving.
They are the worst people
they're
to
the worst
film with by far.
Trying to take a photo of the kid and the dog together, I'm over. It's over.
So
I can't.
If you sent me like a good photo of the kid and the dog sitting there like smiling together, it would blow my mind. I wouldn't even be able to comprehend because it would be so hard to get them to sit still.
It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Well, that's it. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe to the fucking channel. If you're on iTunes, leave a review. All the love helps. Thank you guys so much. We're out of here. Fuck yeah.
Bye-bye.
You guys crushed that. I mean, obviously you guys. Fuck yeah, perfect. You guys crushed that. I mean, obviously you guys do podcasts all the time.
That flew by. That flew by. Thank you so much.
Let's just get a quick photo.
Just take it right here.
Yeah, I'll take it from this shit. Hopefully this works. For sure.
I never felt shorter. Standing next to you two.
Yeah, you guys are fucking. I mean, he's fucking tall as shit.
Does it ever get exhausting doing so many podcasts? Like, are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'll come home and like not be able to talk after because you just talked all day.
It is very like, it requires a lot of obviously emotional intelligence and energy, and that's kind of what makes you the most tired. Because I worked out my whole life, but it's different. That kind of tired versus like mentally kind of. That's why I'm like so surprised you guys have kids and all this shit. Like,
it's honestly like I feel like exhausted, yes, but not like the way that like a lot of people would be. You know, like 'cause it's just I'm so used to it at this point that I could just fucking babble about like it just comes so easy to me. I've done thousands of these at this point, so it's really not that hard for me at this point.
I love it too.
10 hours on camera is not. I don't want to do it every day because that would fuck me up. But like I can do it in one day, especially if it means that I get to not be stressing out the rest of the 4 days out of the week, or thinking of it like Monday through Friday. Like if I can do 5 interviews on a Friday and then Monday through Thursday is kind of chill, that's like a fucking dream for me, you know?
Yeah,
so you consider yourself more of like an extrovert, like because you could like maintain those conversations? Because like Brad's an introvert. He always says
bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you get energy from being around other people, or do you get energy from being alone?
He is. He likes to be by himself. It takes a lot out of him to like be around people and have a conversation. Like after this, he's like, I want to eat and just like.
Well, I guess low key.
Get
See, that's how I am too. It's like when I'm
You gotta recharge.
I'm gonna go eat my fucking lunch. I'm gonna stare into my phone, and if any of my employees try to talk to me, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, like we might not talk about it.
Yo, look at you saw his reaction. You saw his reaction. It's exactly like me. Oh fuck.
Has this dog been named after a legendary Pokemon? Has that already been discussed on this vlog channel?
No, but
ad
that's-
nauseum.
No, it hasn't. But that's exactly.
Because that's hilarious to me, man. You want to see some shiny Entei? I got a whole fleet of them.
Yo, I love it. You still playing Pokemon like that?
I still play Pokemon Go. I'm thinking of retiring pretty soon though. And I'm holding like an alcoholic beverage, and people come up to you and they want to fucking like say hi to you, so they're trying to give you a fist bump. But I'm holding like 2 beverages that are basically like filled up to the limit, and these fuckers are like nervous about meeting you, so they like don't care that you're fucking, and they're like, dude, they give you like the awkward punch, and the fucking wine splashes on me and shit, and I'm just like, you fucking asshole! Like, how could you do this?
You gotta hit him with one of these. You gotta go like this.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's smart.
yeah.
So you go like
Hit him with
that.
an elbow, a little shoulder.
Yeah, that's the key. The thing that really blew up for me, like it took off crazy.
The twist shit?
Dog ear.
Oh, it's just the clothes. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
I want to start streaming more. I fucking
I love that shit.
so inconsistent with it.
I was too. I actually need to be more consistent with it. That's the plan.
That's why I like having the poker sponsor, because at least it makes me like have to do it. You know, community in any way.
out here.
Yeah,
Straight
not
up.
far, but it's really nice.
Thank you so much
Appreciate
for
you,
coming.
dog.
Yeah,
For real.
thank you. It was good to see you guys.
Yeah, I'll hit you up. You want to come
Thank
on my
you
shit
so
again
much.
soon?
Love it, yeah. Thank you
Nice.
so much.
Nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, you talking
nice
about
meeting you.
Appreciate you guys for real.
which one? No,
With no
because I
jumper.
can't do blood
I am not gonna have you on Plug Talk.
If you ever decide to do your OnlyFans thing, we'll have you on Plug Talk.
You're funny bitches. You want to slay on our podcast? Well,